This is the GPL podcast, part of the Pull Tab Sports family.
Oh boy. Jupe making mistakes. I love it.
Is that when I get to pour another old fashioned? I was told it's okay.
Oh, yes.
I sip this on the show. Okay.
Let's get this bandwagon going, folks.
Take
Come
that,
on.
Mr. Negative.
Now, here's Jupiter and Vigo. Good evening and welcome to the GPL podcast, episode number 294. Vigs, good evening. You made it. You had a late practice, but look at that. You made it anyway.
Yeah, we had back-to-backs at Northeast Ice Arena tonight. So, just got my Duke Cannon products in the shower, and I'm ready to go.
I do as well. Overall, good weekend for the Gophers, a good bounce back. Competition definitely down. Notre Dame is not Notre Dame, but still very positive.
Yeah, and I don't think it was like your typical Notre Dame team that we're used to seeing with Jeff Jackson, where all the possessions turned into rock fights. I think we saw the Gophers get in transition a little bit here and there, but it wasn't wide open either. And to see Minnesota have a pretty good weekend, get good goaltending, and get out to leads in both games and hold on to them was progress for this Pride on Ice program.
All right, well, we've got Sam Rossini back on the show. I believe this is going to be his second appearance on the show, except for a couple of weeks ago when he commented on Shearhorn's book collection. But let's bring him in so we can talk about this this last weekend series. Sam, nice to have you back on the show, man.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. This is number 2 for me. And I heard you guys talking too about a leaderboard section with Ramsey and Shearhorn. So I'm going to have to up my appearances if I want to get on that.
They did have a little head start on you, but
yeah.
that's fine.
That's
we did like that you were watching a couple of weeks ago, commenting on Shearhorn's choice of books behind him. So that was very entertaining.
My guess was that he hadn't read any of them, so I kind of wanted to make him panic.
Viggs, he could have lied to us, Viggs. We never know.
Yeah, we didn't quiz him. I didn't know the bookshelf titles behind them, so we could have gone in. We could have done a little AI research and gone after them, but we're kind.
That's awesome.
So, Sam, you're back this weekend. Actually, it looks like are you going to be doing radio and TV this weekend?
Yeah, I'll be doing radio Friday night and then TV Saturday night. So should be pretty fun.
And then Shearhorn going to be doing TV Friday night then? He's going to do radio Saturday, or Tanner jumping in there?
He's doing TV Friday night, and then Tanner's jumping in for radio on Saturday night.
A lot of guys to fill in. It's kind of nice to have a good lineup of guys to do all these things.
Yeah, absolutely. I think learning from Ramsey and Shearhorn and having those guys to kind of go through it with has been awesome. And Eric's done a phenomenal job on TV so far, so that's been fun to watch. And now I get a chance, so it should be a good weekend. Yeah,
it'll be interesting for you. See, last time we didn't know. I don't think Shearhorn knew until kind of last minute that he was going to be on TV when we had him on that show. But good for him, good experience for him. And now you're going to get the chance at TV. It's going to be fun. Viggs, a lot of fun things. We've had Shearhorn on TV. We had Mazzocco back at a booth, at the beginning of the season. It's been quite fun.
And I think the most fun is it's like our cradle of color commentators from Gopher Puck Live. I feel like all these alums have spent a little time with us before they've gone on to radio and TV. And so, Sam, you got some big shoes to fill. I was talking to Jim Rich today, and he was very impressed with Shearhorn on the television. He's like, Eric, have you ever done this before? And he's like, no. He's like, gosh, you're doing great. Keep it up. So
yeah, Eric's been great. I've been watching too. We Jack Sadik, Tyler Sheehy, and myself were all watching the games together last weekend, and we were texting him on the side to try to get him to say some words on the TV and whatnot. But it was great, and he did a really good job. And obviously, we all hope Pat feels better soon too, and he's back in the saddle. But
yeah, because then the craziness will just continue, Viggs, with Pat.
Yeah, and then Jim will be able to save on his vocal cords because he can just let Pat run with it for a long time. But yeah, we're all thinking about Pat. He's going through some medical stuff, so hopefully he's back and gets healthy and does all the work that he has to do there. So,
and as soon as he's back on there, we'll get him back on the show. And I want to bug him right now because it's kind of a little break for us these when Pat comes on. Because we said it to Pat, and he could just go for 3 or 4 minutes, a little break, have a drink.
Of course.
It's awesome. It's awesome. Well, Sam, did you get a chance to watch the games this past weekend? Kind of a bounce back weekend for the Gophers, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. It was good to see that. It was good to see them kind of starting to funnel pucks back towards the net, and I think that was their season high for shots on goal too, so that was good. Also, I think they were better in the faceoff circle, which, again, that always helps you win hockey games. Obviously, Notre Dame team has a little bit different identity without Coach Jackson there, but it was still good to see the Gophers get the sweep this weekend.
Teddy Townsend got his first bit on the ice, Vigs. It was great to see him out there.
Yeah, he didn't look hesitant out there. He had that upper body injury that he was dealing with, so you're always kind of wondering how guys are going to handle the compete and the contact, because especially in Division I hockey, Big Ten, there is not a lot of space, and you get a lot of body contact. You have to battle through everything. And I thought his skating, stood out. You weren't quite sure how that was going to go for him. I saw him in practice leading up to it, and he wasn't in all the contact drills that I was watching. So I was surprised to see him in there, but medically cleared, and he didn't look out of place at all. And I think he adds an element to the team that they're missing a little bit. We talked about how this team looked really big. There's a lot of guys who can play physical, but we were looking for a little more speed somewhere in the lineup, and hopefully Teddy can provide that for them.
So apparently my video is not doing well. You guys getting good video from me?
No,
it's just a little delayed. I can hear your
really,
voice, but then your lips don't start moving for like 3 seconds after.
Wow. Yeah, I see that in the chat there. Everything's fine for me. I don't know. Barb, stop streaming upstairs. Stop streaming. That might help for connection. Well, not much I can do about it right now. So
we're gonna play through it.
Yeah, because I see it perfectly fine for me, and you guys are coming through fine for me. So I don't know.
Your video is a long way from the heart. So
I could out. Well, when we do the commercial, maybe I'll jump out and jump back in and see how bad that goes. So we talk about Townsend. Thomas is still out, Viggs, and it sounds like he's still 50-50 this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, he skated today and he looked fine from what I could tell. He still has to get cleared by the doctors. We were kind of pressing Bob a little bit because it's like it looks like everybody's healthy. Axel Begley was the only player not on the ice today, so guys are back. It's just whether or not they're going to get cleared for the weekend. I think they've done okay without Cal Thomas the last couple of weeks, and so if he's still not ready to go, maybe LIU is the game series you can get away with not playing him if he's not 100% ready to go. Tanner Ludke, I feel like he's been one of the best centers for Minnesota this season, and so losing him in the lineup was a big hole for them. The one benefit of him dropping the lineup is Mason Moe, I think, has really solidified himself as a center on this roster. He has looked really good. When Moscow put together that freshman line with Pritchard and Mooney, it looked like Minnesota's best line at times. Those guys did not look like freshmen out there. They started the Friday night game, and I think they really set the tone, and the coach even acknowledged that in the postgame.
Well, that'll be interesting to get all down eventually here because Ludke virus, who knows if he'll be back. Obviously, Thomas, who knows if he'll be back. I mean, got some big series come up, Viggs. We could use all the bodies we need. So,
yeah. Falloon is still the one player who's going to be out as well. I said Begley was the other one. Falloon's also out. He's going to be out another 3 weeks probably.
Is Gruba? Is he all right? I thought I saw a picture of him in like a no contact jersey. Was that?
Yeah, they mic'd up Luke Middlestat. Yeah, that was from early in the year. So that's long ago. Gruba's back. He's fine. He looks great out there.
Social media team's getting some old posts out then, huh?
Well, I think it just takes them that long to get it together.
Yeah. Fair
He
enough.
edited it because I'm probably sure he's got probably an hour or so of video, however long practices are, Viggs, right?
Yep, and Luke said there's a couple potty mouths on the team that weren't aware that he was mic'd up. So they caught him. He's like, "Hey, I'm mic'd up. You got to watch your mouth today." He's like, they had to edit some of that out.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
So good weekend, Viggs. Look at the Pasquo. Let's 1 goal in on the weekend. That's a huge positive.
Yeah, and on Friday he didn't have a ton of work, but when he did, kind of late in the game, he came up with some key saves. That was a nothing game for a long time, 1-0 game for a long time until the empty netters. So for him to stay solid was really important. It's one of those games where if the goalie gives up a softie, it really puts the daubers down the bench. So him able to take control of the net, stop the Gray Days when they showed up was really important. And then Saturday he got a lot more work and looked just as steady. And I think he even showed a little bit of swagger during the game. You could see him do the slow clap, goalie paddled on the ice as the penalty was going out. He's coming out playing the puck. He's flashing the leather. He's doing the spins on the pad slides. That was a guy who looked happy. And we actually got to talk to him after the game. And, he had lost a little bit of his voice. And, I could tell he had a good time out there.
Sam, that's kind of how it is with goalies. It's such a two-way thing. A goalie could bail you out, and you could bail out the goalie a lot of the time.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's important kind of for them to play with confidence too, because there's such different players. A goalie with confidence versus without confidence is a world of difference. And like you said, Viggs, he kind of lost his voice at the end of the game, which tells me he was talking quite a bit out there. And as a defenseman, I think that helps you, and that helps that entire D-corps, just like breaking the puck out, whatever it might be. And so I'm glad to hear he's got his swagger back.
Plus, he also got an assist, Viggs.
Yeah, that's not often you have a goalie get a shutout and an assist. So I know Jack Ramsey and Eric Shearhorn pointed that out during their broadcast. So they're on their A game there as well.
I mean, and that may have been the longest goal I've ever seen from Whipple. His body was against the end boards.
Yeah, I mean, they don't track the advanced stats like they do in other sports, but that's about as far away from the net as you can get. And you could just tell from the reaction by Whipple that he was excited. He went through kind of a tough year last year, not really getting a chance to contribute too much ahead of a very experienced D-corps that he wanted to be a part of and throw his hat in the ring. And now, especially with some injuries, he's been forced into some more minutes. And I think he's finding some confidence in his game. He's going to be kind of a physical guy for the Gophers, four-way skater, tough physical contact. So, he's going to add something to this mix. And, that's the one thing. A lot of people have been criticizing the roster. They should have brought in some CHL guys. The players on the roster don't develop then if they don't get this experience. So it's kind of tough to go both ways. You'd like the CHL guys so you don't go through the growing pains, but without that, you don't get to see what you have. And guys like Whipple, Jacob Rombach, we should also talk about. He had a great weekend. So there is some growth ahead for Minnesota on the blue line.
Yeah, I agree there, Viggs. I think you brought up a good point. You bring in CHL guys and those guys don't get to develop. And that's kind of like what we had over the past 3 years is we had that COVID class, right? Who stayed and came through the ranks. And obviously that puts Whipple to a back seat. It puts some other D kind of to a back seat because you have the Mikey Kesters, you have other players who are kind of stepping in and they're playing, and they're not going to stop playing, right? So you have forwards and D-man who are freshmen and sophomore who didn't get the playing time maybe that they would have liked to and the development that they would have liked to. So, and then you lose those 2 classes last year, essentially, now that there's not a COVID year. So definitely lacking some experience, but it's good to see those guys get in the swing of things.
So we had an interesting series between Michigan and Wisconsin this past weekend, Viggs. And you were texting me earlier today. You're like, there haven't been any suspensions. What is happening? And then you sent me a video. We'll go through it here in a minute, but just kind of what the heck happened in at Yost this weekend?
Well, I think the game got a little bit chippy on Friday night, and I think Michigan doesn't really control its players very well in these situations. You can tell that the coach kind of gives them the freedom to go out and do what they're doing out there and show that kind of character. And so on Saturday night, when Wisconsin was having their way with Michigan, it looked like at a point the coach said, fine, just go run, guys. And you can see in this clip, there's play after play of Michigan players not playing hockey anymore. They're out there, they're looking for revenge, they're looking to intimidate and maybe injure players. And you can just see them stop playing their forecheck or their system and just starting to go for the body.
One hit right there. So one hit right there, and then the play goes away. Puck goes by. He cross-checks him again.
He's still
and
on
him
him.
again.
He's still on him, cross-checking away. And the refs here aren't doing anything. You know, they know it's a 6-1 game. They know it's out of hand, and they're just letting this go. And you can tell it's going to get worse here. So Wisconsin's going to answer a little bit. They're going to get physical as well.
Yeah, it's just, we saw this last year. The last player to get suspended was a Michigan player with his. Oh, there's kind of a
there's a big hit, and the ref's right there. Doesn't look at anything.
But we saw that hit on Snuggerud late in the game when they were about to blank him for the weekend. Vigs.
And this play here is the worst part here for me.
What?
Watch Park come in here. The puck is already at the hash marks, and he's still coming in at a player who's way behind the play.
Okay, that's a legal hit.
That's not.
Well, no. And then all hell breaks loose.
And there's punches being thrown here. Both sides.
By both teams. By both sides, yes.
And this is college amateur hockey. This is not pro hockey. Players aren't supposed to behave like this. And there's no action from the league.
At least nothing yet.
Nothing yet. Usually, according to our GPL's tracker of suspensions, typically Monday morning, these things are addressed so that the teams have time for the next weekend to adjust with their lineup. And this game gets worse. There's another melee later in the game with 30 seconds left that they give out another 90 minutes of penalties. But this is just the refs letting things get out of control. And, this just tells Michigan that if they're down 6-1 again, they can just keep doing this. And there's really no consequence.
Yeah, this second hit here was insane. I saw this clip a little bit, but I didn't see that whole, minute and a half clip that we just showed. And you can kind of see it unravel. You like to see the game kind of police itself, but in this case, the refs, they needed to step in a little bit earlier, I think, for sure.
Yeah, I think that one hit behind the play, behind the Michigan net earlier, you probably could have blown it dead there and called a minor and kind of nipped this in the bud. But instead they don't. They let it go, and we get this.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and so, I messaged Cappy, and I'm kind of surprised. Is there no risk? He's like, nothing yet. There still may be, but like you said, Vigs, they typically do it on a Monday morning, and maybe there's some kind of appeal process or something that's going on that we don't know about. That's possible, couldn't it be, Vigs? I mean,
it could be.
Both teams would have to forfeit this weekend if they took everyone.
Well, I think they could have singled out quite a few players there. I mean, even Wisconsin players who were swinging away. That's fighting, Vigs.
That is fighting, which is typically a no-no in college hockey. Earlier in the game, there were guys ripping off face masks and helmets, which have sometimes been suspension worthy, according to the Big Ten. If people want to go look at the suspension page, you can see what they've deemed suspendable in the past. And typically, they don't suspend a guy if he does something early in the game and he gets kicked out of the game and has to kind of miss that contest.
Yeah.
But when it's stuff that happens in the third period of a blowout game or the last 9 seconds of a game, there isn't really a penalty in that game that impacts them in any way.
Vigs, is Sam on your list anywhere?
Of suspensions or what?
Yeah. Is Sam on the list, Vigs?
Oh, I had a tough stretch my sophomore year. I think I went 3 games in a row with a boarding or a hit from behind or something, and then I think Bob was thankful that I got suspended that third game because he's probably going to sit me anyways.
Viggs is checking right now. He's getting out his list.
That would have been 2018, 2019.
What's the story? Was
I-
it Shearhorn that told us a story that somebody? Oh, he knew about one of them.
He,
I think
he
you
told
dodged
the
it,
Joey
Sam.
Maroney story.
The Joey Maroney one is one that he told because Maroney got suspended.
Yeah,
He hadn't
Sam,
played
I
all
think he might have
weekend.
gotten kicked out. Yeah.
it was his first game in like probably
Forever.
2 months, and he comes out first shift against Penn State and hits 2 guys from behind in the same play. It was unbelievable. He was just so ready to go.
Oh, he was fired up. He was ready to go. Yeah, just like you said. So, oh boy. So, getting to Wednesday, it's kind of be a little late to suspend a guy, wouldn't it, Viggs? I mean,
You would think so. I looked back at my emails and I didn't see any that were really that late. I do remember one for Minnesota that was late. I almost feel like that Leon Bristett one was one where like the team was already prepping to travel and maybe he got notified late. And I remember that really ticked off the coaches because they're like, hey, we're trying to prepare for a game and we were expecting to have him in. We're game planning for it. And then we find out he's suspended, a couple days before, a day or two before. So I feel like that's happened once or twice, but it's pretty rare.
Yeah,
well,
that's interesting.
we'll just have to wait and see. So, well, Sam, you stayed out of suspension, so that's good. What
I swear I
do-
got one game or something from the consecutive hit from behind, so maybe not.
Well, Viggs would have it, wouldn't you, if it was a suspension? Because you've been keeping track since the Big Ten started, right, Viggs? You think you have most of it. I know Molesky got some for you as well.
Yeah, because of the automatic suspensions, Molesky caught a couple that I had missed because they didn't send out emails for those suspensions. They're automatic. So I feel like we caught up our list. So, Sam, I think you might have gotten kicked out of a game, maybe?
Yeah.
For being a dirty player, Toe Blake, Eddie Shore.
He was in Vegas, actually, against North Dakota. Was the third game in a row, I think.
That's a good game to get one, I guess, against North Dakota. If you're going to hit somebody from behind, might as well be wearing green.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you ever been involved in a game where you thought the referees have lost control and they probably should be calling your team or the opponent's team?
I think, one doesn't really come to mind specifically, but I mean, it happens at all levels. I think like the game starts getting chippy, and it's usually in the games that aren't close, right? And that's when it gets out of hand because people they aren't disciplined anymore, right? And they just start running around, getting away from their game, and they take cheap shots. And yeah, not one sticks out to me right now, but I've for sure been in quite a few probably throughout the years.
And Viggs, I'm still getting very frustrated with the cross-checking that happens in this league. Whether if it's a Gopher doing it or an opponent doing it, somebody will score a goal up front and somebody just gets cross-checked for it or whatever it may be in front of the net. It's getting a little out of control. I mean, it happens, in the NHL is really bad. I mean, the guys are getting just whacked, being in front of the net. Yeah, I know you're supposed to be physical in front of the net, but a cross-check is a cross-check.
Well, I mean, Danny Nelson and Evan Werner at the end of the game on Saturday are going after guys. And, the game's over. And heck, maybe there should be suspensions for one of those guys too. Werner was the guy that went after Stungerud last year at Michigan, and now he's at Notre Dame, and he's getting in the same situation. And that's not what people are in the stands to see in college hockey. So I definitely agree with you. The cross-checking stuff just gets out of hand.
Yeah, that Snuggerud one last year was egregious. At the end of that game, that was crazy. That made my blood boil, and I wasn't even on the ice.
Well, it certainly made our blood boil as well. But that was almost a year ago. There've been no suspensions since then. So
yeah.
All right, Viggs, we need to talk about one of our sponsors, and that means we're going to talk about Gateway Fiber. Talk to us about it.
Maybe Jupe's going to have to switch to Gateway Fiber here because we're in the state of hockey and bad internet connections beg a bad line change. It slows everything down, causes chaos. You might even lose a game because you can't make eye contact with your host and you don't know what he's talking about on the podcast. You're just having to guess. So Gateway Fiber here to keep your internet skating at full speed. They've been taking on big cable for years, and they're here in Minnesota offering faster speeds, better reliability, and customer service that doesn't sit in the penalty box. Gateway Fiber isn't just another provider. They're on your team. Visit gatewayfiber.com or call 1-888-201-4339 to see if Gateway Fiber is available in your area, because life is too short for bad internet.
All right, we've got Vigo's top 20 this week. Michigan State putting themselves solidly up top, Vigs.
Yeah, I mean, that was the feature series of the weekend against Penn State, and Michigan State definitely took care of business. Gavin McKenna gets the one goal on the weekend for the Nittany Lions in a losing effort, kind of a perimeter player. Scott Wheeler was in Munn Arena for the game, talking to a lot of NHL scouts. A lot of them have a lot of question marks after seeing him in that game. Adam Nightingale was asked after the game, did he do anything specific to shut down McKenna? And he just flatly said, nope.
Well, what do you do?
Yeah, I think I've been watching a little bit of McKenna's game too, and it's like he's one of those players. He's kind of like a Trevor Zegras, right, where he's super flashy and he can make the cool plays, the spinoramas, the shootout goals, whatever it might be. But I mean, his 200-foot game is interesting for a first overall pick. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely not a Celebrini, a Fantilli, a Matthew Dines. He's not a play driver. He doesn't. Heck, even LJ Mooney, the way he's able to pick pockets right now and win pucks and create pressure that way, you don't see a lot of that in McKenna's game right now. And it's probably because he's never had to do it. Right. And so, that's the benefit of him making the leap to college. And if he can show over the year that he can grow his game and add that to it, it's going to help him, in his development. But right now it's a big question mark. But it was definitely fun to see that matchup. I wish it was on ESPN or Fox or something instead of Big Ten streaming. But I'm sure those student commentators had a great time calling the game.
Well, I think B10 did one of the games. No, they did Michigan and Wisconsin. That's right. They didn't.
Yeah,
no.
I think they were both streaming plus because I was watching the condensed game and hearing the highlights. Yeah. So entertaining for them.
And then it's all NCHC Vigs. You got North Dakota, Denver, and Duluth right up there now.
Yeah, North Dakota is playing very well. Sweeping Omaha. They have got that goaltender that's really good, and the Fighting Hawks were able to solve him. Denver goes into Western Michigan, sweeps UMD, sweeps St. Cloud. I've got the West in my top 8 spots here. I wrote about this in the top 20 on GPL this week. I don't know what to make of the East. I had Quinnipiac pretty high up there, and then they just have a terrible weekend where they tie Alaska and lose to Yale. I don't think they've lost to Yale in like a decade. So kind of a fall there. And in Hockey East, there's a lot of teams that are about 500 or just a game over, and it's hard to know what to make of those programs.
Then there's a big bulk of East teams there for you. And Ohio State, Miami, CC mixing in there. And then Dartmouth enters your top 20, Vigs.
Yep, they had a good start. They beat Colgate and Cornell. I mean, the mighty Big Red got beaten by the Big Green. So
all right.
I feel like there's probably going to be a team out of ECAC that's going to be dangerous. It's just really hard to tell which one. The Ivy League teams have only played 4 games. Quinnipiac's been up and down. I don't know if people read my top 20 article, but Ram Pecknold was very frustrated with his team, and he didn't hold back when he was interviewed after the game. He was very disappointed in their compete and effort, and they have no confidence.
Interesting.
I did not see that.
Yeah, he blasted his team. So interesting. Yeah, I think the trash can might have been kicked. Losing to Yale.
That's tough for the players to see the coach go out there and not have their back. I think whenever that happens,
But they do get frustrated. I mean, if the players are not listening and they keep doing the things he doesn't want them to do, he's basically leaving it up to the players, isn't he, Sam? I mean,
yeah, you got to look in the mirror. You got to look in the mirror as a player for sure. But coaches can be frustrated and all that, like behind closed doors, and they can rip you to shreds. But to go out in the media and then kind of double down is an interesting tactic, I think.
Well, earlier in this year, for Bob to say I'm not happy with the effort with this Gopher team earlier in the year, that's a rarity for a Motzko press conference.
Especially early in the year. He
Yep.
usually gives a lot of slack early in the year.
He's very patient. And I think he was trying to get the attention because it wasn't necessarily the younger guys who were slow to the fight. It was some of the older guys. And I think against Notre Dame, we saw a little bit of a response from Jimmy Clark and Brody Lamb and Brody Zemer, players that this team needs, pulling their weight, all crew, no passengers. And those guys can't be on the perimeter. They have to be contributing. When you have guys like Clark and Lamb on the top power play, they have to show the way to play. And I thought they did better at that against Notre Dame. And now they just got to keep it going here against LIU.
Yeah, a lot of positives to take away from last weekend, I thought.
Sure. What did Gophers have to do? Do you see them as a top 20 team, given the strength of the Big Ten? Splitting series against top dogs? Well, obviously sweeping this weekend. And, gosh, I guess to get right back, probably have to sweep Penn State, wouldn't they, Vigs?
I think a split with Penn State, a good game against Denver, and then a split with Ohio State would maybe give them a chance to get the top 20 for me.
They got to get to 500 or above first, I think.
I don't think so. They've played a very difficult schedule. That's one of the things that the coaching staff has said is like, yes, I know the fans aren't happy with how things are going, but you look at the top 20, BC's there, North Dakota's there, Minnesota's there, Wisconsin's there, Michigan Tech's close to being there. This is a very difficult schedule they've played, and they've dealt with some injuries. So I think if they have a strong finish here, winning 5 out of the 6, and then playing well in the last 3 games, there's a chance that they could be back there. And I definitely think because of the strength of the schedule of the Big Ten, that if Minnesota holds its own in the league, they're still going to be in a good place for a bid. This is a league that could get 4 or 5 teams very easily.
I can tell you're looking down at your phone, Sam, from a certain text we all just got a few seconds ago.
That was pretty good.
We'll just keep that on the down low for now. So Viggs is going to look at his text because he was talking at the time, but we're like both going, what's going on here? Anything else, Viggs? I mean, I do like seeing Miami back in there. They have really kind of struggled for a few years. It's really good to see that program because they've been stomped on since they went to the NCHC.
Yeah, I mean, they've done well in the games they've played. There's been a bunch of teams that have lost. I'm giving them a little bit of the benefit of the doubt here. We'll see what happens when they start playing some real teams in the league. I think right on the fringe, we do have Michigan Tech, St. Cloud, Omaha, Bemidji. They're all on the fringe. If I was doing a top 25, they would probably be in that next little tier.
Okay. Do you have a history book of your weekly rankings and how long teams have stayed in the top 20 and whatnot?
I do, but it's not great on demand. But
yeah.
I do keep track.
I'm curious if Dartmouth, ever since you started doing it, is this their first appearance?
Oh, it could be their first appearance. I've only been doing this now for 2 years.
Yeah,
it's been nice. Keeps me on top of the national scene a little bit better. I do get the Western bias because I watch a lot of Big Ten and NCHC and CCHA. So I don't see as much, but it's kind of forced me to use my ESPN Plus and check out some of the ECAC and Hockey East games. And every once in a while hit Flow and get Atlantic.
Nice. I like it.
All right. Darren Boggan's got a question here for you. When Minnesota's at full strength, which players will be the odd man out? Harris is tough to take out, in my honest opinion. Harris has played, 6 games or so now? He's gotten in there probably a lot more than we thought he would.
Yeah, he's taking advantage of it. I thought he's looked the part to be a D1 hockey player. I was talking about that with Bob Motzko today during the availability. He's one of those kids who got squeezed out by the portal and 5th-year players. All of a sudden it became really hard to be a D1 hockey player because it was just the pipeline got clogged with all these players. And so guys kept getting pushed, and he was just in that age group where he toughed it out in the NHL in New Mexico, and there just weren't spots for guys like him. And so he went to Augsburg. He was a productive player there, and then he had the chance to come to Minnesota. He was a good fit. I know some fans don't like that, a D3 player was someone they tapped, but I feel like he looked the part this last weekend, and he's a guy who's going to keep working, even as guys get back in the lineup. And you need guys like that in a program to get through times like this. Because if you don't have depth and you have this injury stuff and you're all of a sudden playing 18, 19-year-old guys in fourth line roles that they're not used to, have never played, that doesn't always go very well when you play a schedule like Minnesota does.
I mean, look at Nick Michael last year, right? He stepped in and played some good games. He played hard. He played a good 200-foot game, I thought, a couple times throughout last year. And, I mean, he's a guy coming from St. John's. So you do need those depth guys.
And I think the difference between like top D3 players and D1 has never been closer. You know, I think because there's so many good American players now with all the junior leagues we have and all the development that's happening, you know, there are players that are just going to have to be fits sometimes. And sometimes it takes a couple extra years. And, you know, Brody Lamb and Graham Harris are the same age. And one's a senior and one's a freshman. That's pretty crazy.
Brody kind of got out of a slump this past weekend, Viggs. He looked good.
Yeah, he did look good. He had a little bit of a confident nature to his game again, which is important for him. I think he's an emotional guy who can kind of let himself go in the highs and lows and the swings. So seeing him, you know, get the empty net goal, you know, might not mean that much to anyone else, but for him, it gave him a little bit of confidence. His line did start the game on Saturday, and I thought they did a better job setting the tone, something that they maybe hadn't done the past couple games. So good steps for him.
All right. Is that an antique Tiffany lamp in the background, Viggs, from a certain texture?
Yeah. You got a little colored glass back there, you know?
Yeah. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It's nice.
It looks nice.
I'm waiting for the comment on my old brand new used printer.
Yeah, Sam, you got to do something for your background. If we do the background radar, it's going to be a blank canvas for you.
You know, Sharon was pretty bad at first, too.
At least you don't have the fan spinning above you right now.
Yeah, I haven't turned it on yet. We just moved into a new house though, so we're decorating and still trying to fill it with furniture. So I got a little bit of an excuse.
Totally. It's always exciting getting into a new house. It's a lot of work, but very exciting. So, all right, before we get into this week, Viggs, we still have one more sponsor to talk about, and that is, of course, Cub Foods.
Yeah, Cub Food. This fall, they've got you covered. I've been down there. I'm getting into like my pot roast season, my chicken chili, my beef chili, and Cub's got you covered. If you want some fallness, you know, fresh picked apples, pumpkin spice, Cub is your one-stop shop for everything fall. Whether you're baking, hosting game day, or just craving a go-see night in, Cub has the flavors that make fall feel like fall. So swing by your local Cub, stock up all your seasonal favorites, because nothing says fall in Minnesota like comfort food from Cub. Shop happy. They're one of us.
All right. Of course, we thank Cub Foods and Gateway Fiber for sponsoring the GPL podcast. Long Island University Sharks, Viggs. Brand new, never played them before. How long has their program been around?
6 years, I think.
Okay. Love their jersey colors. Love that. I'm kind of doing the blue and the yellow kind of for the opponent this weekend. I like to do that.
I do not know much about this team.
Who does?
You know, they have a lot of older kids. They have a big roster. The one thing I do know is that they've played everyone tough so far. You know, that's one of the things that Motzko is really trying to get through to his team, is that this isn't going to be a cakewalk. There are no cakewalks in college hockey. You know, they're not just pulling these kids off the pond and putting them in uniforms. You know, these are hockey players that want to make a good showing. And, you know, they went to OT with Penn State. They went to OT with New Hampshire. They went to OT with Canisius. They gave BU a game that was very close, 2-goal game. So Minnesota is going to have to be on point when they play this weekend, because I think they're going to have to generate some of their own juice. You know, I don't think this is a game where there's going to be big ticket sales and a big crowd. So they're going to have to generate it themselves a little bit.
Yeah, Sam, a team like this coming into Mariucci, they are going to be pumped up. This is definitely something the team needs to be careful of.
Yeah, absolutely. This one for them is like that's been circled on their calendar all off season, right? You get to come into a Big Ten school, play in front of it probably won't be a huge crowd, but in their eyes, a huge crowd, the bright lights, you know. And I think you look at this team, it reminds me of when it's so hard to get up for games like that when you're playing a Long Island University, right? Because you think, oh, it's going to be point night, or oh, it's going to be a cakewalk. But you're right, Viggs. The parity in college hockey has never been better. And I think I think it was my junior year, we played Ferris State over the Mariucci tournament, and we ended up losing that game just because we didn't have our foot on the gas and we kind of took them lightly. And that's what ended up knocking us out of the pairwise. And Duluth snuck in and as a 16 seed, and the rest is history, obviously, on that. So you can't, I think Bob always says this, you can't win the national championship in November, December, but you can lose it. So I think it's important that the Gophers don't take these guys lightly.
Viggs, it would be devastating into the NPI if they were to lose one of these games.
Yeah, I still don't know how the NBI handles a bad loss in the end of the year. It's still, I know that Adam Odon had the MPI guy on this week talking about, bad wins being thrown out. I feel like there's a bad loss thing too. They're trying to minimize that and, give a benefit to teams that play tough schedules and take away some of the impact of losing to good teams. But I think for Minnesota's like vibe and momentum, they need to have a good weekend here. LIU, as Sam mentioned, is going to get up for this game. This is a team I think plays 2 home games the entire first half of the year.
Oh, jeez.
Like they are just traveling and collecting checks to pay for their program. And I think a team maybe can get an identity of that as like, hey, let's take the money and take the points kind of perspective. And, I think they're going to give Minnesota a good game. And it's one of those games where I think Minnesota has to be aggressive. I noticed that at practice today. Steve Miller is on this team. You cannot sit back and glide. You have to close the space. You have to put pressure on players. You have to play on your toes. And I think, we saw some of that against Notre Dame, but the rest of the year it's been lacking, quite frankly. So it's something they have to, really figure out, is that going to be our identity is being a hard team to play against? Because at times when Minnesota doesn't play that way, they can get in trouble this year because they're not able to outscore their mistakes like they've been able to in the past.
That's what I was just going to say, Viggs, is they don't really have that one guy who can carry its own line. They got to do it by committee. And so if they don't have everyone bought in, it's going to be hard to put a lot in the net if they get down early.
But, I think a program like this coming on, trying to start a program, and, you do think of college hockey. There is so much more parity this year, now compared to 15, 20, 25 years ago. I remember after the 2002 championship, I think, was it Huntsville or somebody came in here. I think Minnesota put 10 up on them one night and 8 the other night. I mean, we used to see that a lot more common in college hockey, but, I think Michigan put up a 10 spot one time this year, but it's just not something that happens like it did in the past.
No, I mean, this team, the Gophers are going to play LIU. They gave up 3 to Penn State. They gave up 3 to New Hampshire. They gave up 4 to BU. They're playing against teams with a lot of NHL talent, and they're hanging in there. And I think that just shows how deep college hockey is that a team like LIU, who doesn't play in front of a big crowd and, doesn't play a lot at home and doesn't show up on TV very often, they're still able to put together a very competitive roster. I was just kind of looking at it, and it's a lot of guys who played NAHL, BCHL, OJHL, MJHL. These are leagues where at the end of the season, they know you love hockey because it's not easy to play in those leagues. You are on the bus a lot. You're eating cold pizza with ice bags on you, and you're not sleeping in nice hotels, and you're grinding out the year trying to get a shot to play college hockey. And, that builds some character in a team that can be tough to play against.
And I believe kind of the rest of their schedule, obviously all the other teams will be going into league play. Are they playing like a team, like somebody's mentioning, like Anchorage and whatnot, that don't have conferences anymore? I think they're playing either other D3 schools or other types of schools. Is that sustainable?
It's probably not long term. You know, you look at their schedule the first half with only playing the 2 home games and a couple exhibitions. You know, this is a team that's trying to make money by going on the road and getting guaranteed games. And they do go to Alaska at the end of January for 2 weeks, so they'll play 5 games. You know, where else would you rather be than Alaska at the end of January, right? You probably ask Eric Shearhorn about that. Get some perspective. Maybe we can talk about that on the broadcast. And then they'll play Stonehill for 5 of their last 10 games too. So it's a tough way to play D1 hockey. Part of me hopes that, you know, college hockey can figure it out and maybe get some expansion and get some more conferences to figure this out. But it's tough when you've got a team like LIU and then you've got schools like Alaska. That's not a real easy conference to have.
Thousands of miles apart.
You know, unless you do travel partners, you know, where you have like 2 or 3 schools in the East and 2 or 3 schools out West, and you can, you know, do what they do when they're spending the 2-3 weeks in Alaska, and Alaska could come to New York for 2 or 3 weeks. You know, there's ways to do that too.
What does the LIU's barn look like? Do we know?
I don't know for sure. You know, it's a 2,500 seat building, and I haven't seen it in person.
Braemar, basically.
I don't know if it's Braemar or Aldrich or Tria or what.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either. I was just curious.
So that's some homework to do this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I also haven't got into their roster yet on like age. Are they an older team?
They're kind of an older team.
Okay.
Yep, they're an older, bigger team. If you go to CHN and you go to their almanac and you can, you know, see the team information.
Yeah. And that's usually kind of the trend with these smaller schools, right? They get those
22.6 years on average.
22.6.
22.6. So
by comparison, Minnesota is
21.3.
So
yeah.
You know, all players who spent that extra year.
It is in the bottom kind of area of, there's
there we go.
Teams.
I found it.
Yeah. And, you know, they're the same age as Mankato, actually. Sort of fits the thing at Mankato, doesn't it, Viggs?
For sure.
Wow. So, all right. Well, what do you think happens this weekend, Viggs? I'm guessing anything other than a sweep is going to really tick some people off.
Yeah. You know, I'm encouraged with how they played against Notre Dame. Mm-hmm. You know, I think we saw some good things. They got good goaltending, very few mistakes, less penalties. The penalty kill looked improved. You know, they cleared the puck when they had to clear the puck. You know, they did benefit from one pipe being hit during the penalty kill that could have maybe sent things a different direction. But they, you know, sometimes the bounces go your way too. Mm-hmm. And Minnesota capitalized on that. I liked the look of the freshman line and the sophomore line. You know, I thought that was a good combination for the Gophers, and then for Bob to put some older guys together and say, hey, you got to figure this out. And it seems to be working. I really like the development of Rombach and Whipple as defenders. I think it provides them a little bit more depth. As those guys get confidence, they can hold on to pucks just a little bit longer, make better connections coming out of the zone, because I think it's so critical for this Gopher team to get some transition and not just get in the routine of gain the red line, dump, get off. The other team comes on, or the other line comes on and has to play defense. You know, This is a program that needs to get some momentum.
Sam, Rumbach is leading the team in plus minus at a +8 right now.
Yeah, he was +4 this weekend, I think.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
He was great defensively, and I think he's still searching for his first point on the season, but I think to get that confidence as a freshman to come in and play kind of those shutdown minutes, it's only going to help him obviously get better. And I think he's going to become more physical too as he gets more confident. Right now, he's just kind of, you know, out there kind of trying to make a good first pass. And as you grow confidence as a bigger D-man, you can start to kind of evolve your game and expand it. And I think his physicality is going to be something that's going to be fun to watch as the year goes on too.
I think one thing I've noticed with him is he's very aware of positioning on the ice, He's not chasing the play outside the dot line. He's very good at waiting for the attacker to come into his range. And when you're that big and you've got that much reach, I think you're just inviting players to come into your body and come into your triangle. It's like, good luck. He's got those super long sticks like we saw at the World Junior Summer Showcase as he was taking those home. Those are long sticks that he uses, and he uses it pretty well. And I think just seeing him get the confidence to take the puck below the goal line and nearly get a wraparound goal, that's an impressive step for him.
Yeah, Sam, we met his dad and his brother at the World Junior Showcase, and they were carrying his sticks, and his dad was telling us that they're the longest he could possibly have without getting special permission. Isn't that what he said, Vig? Something around that?
Yeah. If you want the longer stick, you have to get an exception. So this is the longest legal stick you could just play.
I did not know that. Interesting. I knew you could get like the extensions built in with CCM or Bauer or whoever, but I didn't know they capped it at a legal limit. Interesting.
Well, I mean, and I think Notre Dame had a 6'6" guy or 6'7" guy. They had a couple of huge trees there, Vigs, this past weekend.
Yeah, they had a 6'7", 240 guy, and I was looking for him in the locker room area after the game just to see what that looks like down there, because Rombach's a big guy, but he's not quite 240.
No,
that reminds me of a story my junior year, and Vigs, maybe you've heard this one being around the locker room, but Tyler Nanny had a tough stretch his senior year where he had like 5 games in a row with multiple icings. And Don brought him into the office on a Monday morning and kind of gave it to him and showed him all the clips of his icings. And he's getting to like within 5 feet of the red line, and then he's sending it down, and the refs are calling icing every time.
Yeah.
And so Don looks at Tyler Nanny and goes, like, what's the issue here? And he's like, you know what? I think I need a longer stick. And then he comes out to skate that day with Tyler Nanny comes out with 2 sticks taped together that day, and he's stick handling around as we're skating around before practice.
Oh my
gosh. He about lost his mind. It was so funny.
I have not heard that one.
I feel like I've heard that one before, and I felt like I heard Don was not impressed with that response.
Oh, come on.
From Tyler.
That's good. That is excellent. I give him all the credit there. You messed up. Sometimes you do have to laugh it off sometimes, and maybe the Don wasn't feeling that.
I think that was a tense time of Gopher hockey when those days were around. Yep.
You think?
Tense. Just a little tense.
We had 5 forwards on the power play at one point.
Had a pretty good one running the point though.
Yeah.
Tommy Novak
was pretty good on the point.
I was just thinking about Tommy this week when Matthew Woods scored his hat trick for the Predators. I was like, there's a player who's been overlooked for some, maybe physical deficiencies that they think they see, but that hockey brain, both of those two, elite.
Yeah,
elite hockey
Tommy
brains.
was always an interesting one because like you could always tell he was going to be a better pro than college. Because like the way his hockey IQ is just incredible, and like he can find players, and as he plays with better players, obviously we've seen him pan out. But when you put him in college hockey, it's a little bit more physical and not really his game style. So
this is the image just sent to us. I'm assuming this is LIU's rink.
Nice.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad. Kind of looks like Trio.
Yeah. Double-sided.
There you go. Yeah. So Vigs, you're picking a sweep, right?
Picking a sweep.
Sam, you're going to do the same, right?
Sam? What's that?
Sweep? I'm assuming you got to pick the sweep.
Yeah, right? I have to pick the sweep. If I ever want to be invited back to radio or TV, I gotta. No, but seriously, I think they had obviously a super positive weekend last weekend against Notre Dame. So if they can carry that on and continue to play, if they come out and compete and play the right way for 60 minutes, there's no reason they shouldn't win both these games this weekend. It's just a matter of staying disciplined and making sure the right team shows up. And as we know, it's been a little bit of a roller coaster start. So hopefully we see the right guys in the maroon and gold this weekend.
And I do get the sense that the coaching staff of the players all know that like last week was just a step. Yeah. Like it's not anything. they got 2 wins, great, but you just have to stay even, and they have to keep working to get better because they haven't hit any like goals yet. So the coaching staff is still on these guys. I think the players still know, the messages that they have to execute on, and
absolutely
won't be easy.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on the show, Sam. You ready for a little bit of overtime here?
Oh yeah, fire it up.
All right. Vigs, you got any last thoughts?
Just keep looking at that top 20. It's going to sort itself out one of these days. It looks like the MPI is maybe starting to come around. So hopefully as the Ivy League schools get more games in, it'll make more sense.
Yeah, that would definitely help. All right. Well, that's going to do it for this week's episode of the GPL podcast. We'll be back next week to recap the LIU series and preview the series with Penn State. We've got Paul Caponegri coming in next week for that show. So it'd be nice to have him back on the show for like the bajillionth time. For those of you watching live on YouTube or X or Facebook, stay tuned for overtime. For the rest of you, we'll catch you next week on the GPL podcast. If you are watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button and get notified each time we go live or post a video. If you listen on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please rate our show and leave a review. For those of you watching live, you know what's next. It's Vigo's Beverage of the Week. It's time for overtime. What do you got?
So it's always darkest before the dawn. Maybe the Gophers have passed that moment, and this is a black barley wine aged in rye whiskey barrels from Steel Toe. As you can know if you're a follower of this podcast, way underrated brewery, great beer, darkest night, loaf of bread. Cheers, Eric Shearhorn.
Loaf of bread.
I was just going to say that. Eric's favorite line.
Nope.
So I'm wondering if my video issues has something to do with StreamYard, because I just did a test, a speed test. I'm getting 500 megabit upload speeds. I'm like, it's just fine. So I will go exit for a bit. Leave you two guys.
Talk amongst yourselves.
I'll talk amongst yourselves. I'll be right back. Hopefully.
So Vigs, what team are you coaching this year?
So my son is a peewee for Minneapolis Titans, City of Lakes, and my daughter is a U10. So she plays for a team called the Star Walls, which is a co-op between Minneapolis Titans, City of Lakes, Langford, and Edgecombe.
Nice.
So it's really nice. We have a lot of our ice time at Northeast Ice Arena, which is 5 minutes away from my house.
Yep.
So it makes it really easy. I have a big, strong philosophy where I want my kids on the ice, not in the car. So we do a pretty good job. The kids get like a 3 to 4 to 1 practice to game ratio, and they have a lot of fun. We have small rosters, so it's pretty much like you're on the ice, you're off the ice, on the ice, off the ice all the time.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's been a good experience for us. It's one of those associations where we have a lot of kids who just play hockey in the winter. It's not a year-round thing for them.
Sure.
And we try to make it as affordable as we can. So it's a nice setup for us. So it's fun. I enjoy coaching them. So
that's awesome. What positions are they?
My daughter has a tendency to play defense. She really is a sturdy little defender. She likes the hip on hip, stick on stick contact.
Nice.
And my son bounces around a little bit, but he likes to play wing.
Nice.
So, and now you look fine, Jupe. You look totally fine.
Do I really?
Yeah.
I think it was a StreamYard thing. Sorry, I just didn't want to mess up the audio recording for the full main show, so I didn't want to switch out until I left. Plus, I wasn't sure what would happen to the attachments I had. Did those attachments show to you when I was in the studio there, Viggs? Did you see the video and stuff at the bottom?
I think I can see the stuff at the bottom.
Yeah, I'm wondering, since it was coming from my machine, if they would have just disappeared when I looked. I'm like, my video doesn't matter so much during the show. I just wanted to make sure that the full show was fine. Here, so
Sam, are you coaching at all? Are you doing any youth hockey stuff?
No, I'm actually I'm helping out my former agency, the Bartletts.
Okay.
I'll do a little plug for them here. We got LJ Mooney and Paulson, so it's good to see those guys. But so they were my agents when I was going through it, and then they reached out and kind of asked if I could help out with a bunch of their Minnesota guys because they're Chicago and Boston based, and so they obviously can't fly up here every single weekend in the winter. So I kind of go to a lot of high school games and help out with their existing clients. So that's been a fun journey and fun way to stay in hockey so far.
Yeah, I bet. I have a buddy who did that kind of stuff, and then he ended up working for the Portland Winterhawks, and now he works for the Tampa Bay Lightning.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So he kind of went through a couple different routes to get into hockey, and it's crazy. I saw him at like the World Junior Summer Showcase, and every once in a while he shows up at Mariucci, and he watches a lot of hockey.
Yeah.
He's so often on the road that he doesn't really have like an apartment. He just has like a storage place, and he just stays like in hotels or with friends.
Wow.
Around. It's crazy.
That is crazy. That's Matt Denman, if you guys remember that name. He's doing, I actually give him a lot of credit. He's working with Cedar Rapids in the USHL right now, and he lives at the rink. He's in the rink all the time, and he's done a really good job so far. So credit to Matt Denman.
Cool. What's the best thing about Bartlett that you've learned along the way here?
I just think kind of the way that they handle their business. They're the only NHL, like, prominent family ran NHL agency. It's just the dad and the two kids, right? And they're competing against obviously Octagon, CAA, all these big agencies. And so the fact that they can kind of stay with that family feel has been something that I've really respected about them. And it's kind of the only, I was talking to my buddies about it, but it's the only way I'd ever get into the agency world is to do it with them and to do it the right way. And every rink that I go in, it's awesome because, like, I tell people what I'm doing there, and they all have the same opinion about, oh, the Bartletts are great, fantastic guys to work with. So it's been fun.
All right, just want to jump in real quick here. Mote, our YouTube channel subscriptions up to 830. Thanks, gang. We're starting to move up. We got up over 100 now in just a couple weeks, Viggs. Really?
Yeah, we appreciate it. Thanks for subscribing. It helps us. It helps people find us. All around good stuff.
And then you captured audio this week, and we posted the audio from actually this week and last week of the media availability. You can find that on YouTube as well. Obviously, just audio, because Vigos is not going to sit there and stand there and do that. Are you basically getting that from your translation programs?
Yeah, so I use Otter to capture all the audio. It kind of starts the transcription. I have to go back in because it's not always perfect with hockey speak. But it was just me, Jim Rich, Wally, KSTP camera there today again. So they don't always ask too many questions. So glad to be there to at least capture what's going on.
Yeah, and I'm glad I get to listen to it because I'm obviously working, and you worked out the U, so it's a little easier for you to get over there for like a lunch break, right?
Yep, I just bring my laptop. I can work from the press box a little bit, and then watch practice from up there, and stay on top of my day job, and then head down for availability, and then get home and get ready for practice. So tonight was a little intense because I had ice at 6 and 7:15 tonight, so it was a hustle to get over because we were done at 8:15. So that's the benefit of coaching at a rink that's 5 minutes from your house. You can almost make it back on time for the podcast.
Hey, I was talking to Sam about how you helped kind of save the outdoor rinks last season. What's the prognosis this season? Have you heard anything, Viggs, on what the
most
plan
of
is?
the rinks are back. They've got the boards up already
Oh,
at the park across the street from my
nice.
house. So we'll get our rink back at Wyndham Park this year, which is always awesome. It's like a Rockwell Christmas outside our front porch because like we get the rink and the lights and the kids and like the
And
majority.
You're on a dead end street, so it's just
Cul-de-sac and dead end.
yes.
It's nice. It's really good for our hockey community around here too. A lot of the kids who play for our association are within like a couple blocks of this rink. And so like when my kids were mites and mini mites, we would have practices there during the winter for extra ice. And so the kids kind of have that in their blood. So when they want to play on the ODR, this is the rink they come play at. So hopefully we get a good winter like last year and we get lots of good outdoor ice.
That's awesome. We play I almost missed this podcast tonight. I was texting Jupp, but I play bandy over at the Roseville Oval. And they need to my pitch is that they need to build a big oval on the west side somewhere. Because all of our bandy players are out west. So
that's right. I was talking to Middlebrook, who does a lot of the bandy stuff, and I was talking about Sammy Walker, and I was like, you guys got to make an offer to get this guy playing bandy year round because he has got like the perfect skill set to be like the dominant world bandy player, I think.
Oh yeah. It's unbelievable. Some of these guys can fly. And they got those bandy blades, which are like in between hockey skates and speed skating skates. And I mean, if you get those on, you can absolutely fly.
Do you know if Sammy has invested in those at all yet, or
he only plays indoor bandy in the summer,
okay.
And so you can't.
It wouldn't work.
Yeah, it just wouldn't be as effective because you have to stop and start a lot more versus when you're on the oval, you don't ever stop and start. You're constantly just going.
Grinding, yeah. No, I see it out there every once in a while because I'm in Northeast Minneapolis. We're pretty close to the oval, and I grew up in Roseville for a bit. And so the oval was built basically when I was a middle schooler, I think, or maybe an elementary school. So
nice.
It's a great facility. Like I'm a big believer in those outdoor refrigerated sheets. We need more of those around the Twin Cities, especially, as the winters become a little more uncertain. Right now, a good winter season is the week after Christmas, New Year to President's Day.
Yeah.
That's a good year of outdoor ice. And, the Oval just opened this last week here.
Yep.
And they'll be open through MLK Day.
At least. We played our bandy playoffs are like the first week of March, and we played in like a 55-degree day last spring. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Real fun.
My kids, because of our association being in Northeast, a lot of Minneapolis kids get invited to some of the Matt Dema try hockey for free stuff at the Oval. And it's like last year we got to see Marc-Andre Fleury there signing autographs, and Natalie Darwitz was there. And
that's awesome.
Some years it's been really cold, and other years it's been like you can wear a t-shirt out there.
Yeah.
But the ice is still good.
It's always a crazy concept to me when it's that warm and you're skating outside. It's a weird feeling.
What are your thoughts on solid surfaces and keeping hockey rinks up all year? Because I know in Carver, I drive by it all the time, that right in kind of the suburban area of Carver, not in downtown, but they've got an outdoor rink. I'm not sure if it's concrete or asphalt, but it's open. It's there all year long. I mean, I think sometimes in the summer they might put up some pickleball nets, temporary ones. But what are your thoughts on that? I mean,
you're saying like keep the boards up?
Yeah, they keep the board. It's a solid surface, so people go out there with their rollerblades, whatever, and play with the ball and kind of keep playing.
Yeah, I grew up in Rosemount, and we had two pretty nice outdoor rinks in what we called Central Park, and they kept the boards up year round, and we'd play a little bit of roller there in the summer, so that was fun.
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting to have the roller hockey up there, but I'm one of those believers where I like the multi-sport athlete. I want the kids playing some. I want guys like Sam in the off season to play a little bit of softball with the boys, and and get a little something different going on. Pickleball is a great way to use those outdoor rink concrete surfaces, I think, in the off season, especially if they're covered. Like the covered outdoor refrigerated ice sheet is such a great idea I think we need more of those around the Twin Cities. I know Mike Snee, who's doing the community stuff and the Skate It Forward with Minnesota Wild. That's one of his things that we've talked about. And I think it's just great for the game. And, you look at the St. Louis Park Rock, and I know Duluth is looking at ODR covered, and Edina's got one. It just makes a lot of sense.
So you're saying you would eventually take the ice out and use it for pickleball just because it's a nice surface? Okay.
Yep, because it's a nice surface, and you want to use it year round.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be hockey.
I'm guessing it does get to a point where it's just too hot to keep ice.
Yeah, and I think a covered place is nice for pickleball too, because you're in the shade then.
And honestly, with so many people still using tennis ball courts, you chase a lot, and you could kind of configure it so going across the ice there, you're not chasing the ball a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It is crazy though, the increase in roller hockey players that have made it to the NHL, like who started growing up playing roller hockey instead of actually skating. It's pretty crazy.
The first hockey I played was on roller skates.
Wow, the 2 and 2 wheels.
Oh yeah. Roller skates.
Wow.
In our basement, because we have one of those like linoleum or all those those tile, those thin little vinyl tiles you have in basements a lot of times. It was a hard surface, so we would play hockey with our roller skates in the basement. Use one of the closets as a goal. Put an old pitchback net. Those nets you'd use for throwing the ball, and I think they were called pitchback nets. This was super old, so the net was small. Of course, I was in goal a lot with a baseball glove and a tennis racket as my stick because we're playing with a tennis ball.
That's awesome.
This is before rollerblades were even invented.
Wow.
I started roller skating when I was 6, I want to say, with literally the metal roller skates that fit over your shoes.
Didn't even have to take the shoes off?
Late 70s. And then I get the boot kind, which is more like you would still see at roller rinks these days, the old high boot roller skate.
Wow. Good stuff.
Viggs, did you have any? You might have seen the pull-on roller skates. You're not super young.
I had the original like black and orange rollerblades when I was growing up. So I think I did the roller skate thing only like at the school outing where you go the skating,
the old skating rink. Yep.
Yeah. So not a lot of roller skating in my days, but we did the Wayne and Garth Wayne's World in the street where we do the game on, game off stuff. Yes. So that dates me a little bit.
No, it doesn't, because it's awesomeness right there. That's just great. I had my original rollerblades just broke. I want to say 3 summers ago. These rollerblades were from 1987. Rollerblade, the Lightnings or Zetras, one of the two, black with the red wheels, original. So they lasted over. Geez, I guess that's over 30 years they lasted. They're a bit of tanks, but
I can't imagine how heavy they are.
The thing is, you got used to it and you could beat on them. Because back in my day, I was at Mankato State where there were a lot of stairs you could jump off of, and they could take a beating compared to the newer skates that were, some kind of plastic or composite. Yes, they were lighter, but they just didn't hold up to literal metal parts that were holding the skate together at the bottom. So, and the only reason why it broke is because the plastic broke on the outside, the shell. I couldn't use it anymore. So I was always a better rollerblader than an ice skater. I don't know why I just couldn't get ice skating as well.
You just couldn't get the glide down.
It is still different. It's probably because I started on roller skates originally back in the 70s.
Didn't stop Jason Zucker. He figured it out.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever worn roller skates. I'm gonna have to try that at some point.
They, like I said, the roller rinks. I think Burnsville still got their roller rink up and running, so they probably got skates there.
Yeah.
I grew up in the roller skating kind of age, though, but there were roller rinks in a lot of towns. We had one in Bloomington growing up, and you would go to birthday parties at the roller rink.
Yeah, what was
birthday
it?
parties camp.
Skateville, right? In Burnsville?
Skateville, yeah.
We had Saints roller rink in Bloomington for a long time. I went to probably 3 or 4 birthday parties there. I might even had one of my own birthday parties there. So,
what ounce beer is that, Viggs?
22 ounce beer.
Nice.
What's the alcohol content? 12.6.
It's probably higher. Doesn't say on here.
Oh, that means it's high.
Yeah. But yeah, it's
Anybody see
2023.
Anyone see the Northern Lights tonight?
That's awesome. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I was getting texted my family group chat, and I had to open up the sliding door and go check it out. It was awesome. I don't know if where was it you we were texting, Joe? Me and Ramsey are now neighbors. He lives across the street from me.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Funny story on this house though. So we were just looking on Zillow. We were looking to get out of our apartment and get into a house, and scrolling through Zillow, found one that popped up that we liked, and then I was showing Tyler Sheehy it, and he's like, "Hold on, give me like 3 more pictures. I know whose house this is." And I was like, "No way!" And then he's like, "Yeah, this is Hudson Fashing's house." And so, small world, we ended up getting his house. Kind of funny, because I never played with Fashing, so I didn't know him. But
but there's still connection there. I mean,
yeah.
So you're in Hudson Fashing's house, huh? Oh.
Yeah. I tell everybody it's probably the closest to somebody that that you'd be comfortable to buy their house. You know what I mean?
So did you actually buy it from him?
Yeah.
Oh wow, he didn't give you a discount or anything?
Market price.
Market price is fair deal.
Yeah, it was a good deal.
You can't ask for more than that. That worked out pretty well. So you say Ramsey's across the street from you?
Yeah, Ramsey's across the street, and Shearhorn's probably 4 blocks down.
Jeez.
So when Ramsey orders the Santanas, you text him and be like, "Hey, can you put this in for me?"
Yeah.
Shearhorn's like, "Yeah, for me too.
I'll take it. Yeah.
Or we'll meet in the backyard. We'll get the
better yet,
fire
go
pit
steal
going.
his when we're doing a podcast and he's ordering food. Go over and steal his food when it arrives.
Oh, he'd be rattled.
Yeah.
Or he might fall asleep and you could just
he'd forget about it, and you get it hot and he'll forget about it. Because what did he say? One time he got up at 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
4 in the morning,
forgot it was there.
His food was frozen outside.
He was telling me this morning he was at a wedding this weekend and Ubered home on Saturday night and found his wallet out by his mailbox Sunday morning. He said it fell out of his pocket getting out of his Uber. Thank goodness it was still there.
That must have been last weekend.
Maybe it was 2 weekends. Oh yeah, it was radio, so it was 2 weekends ago.
Yeah, because he was doing radio last weekend, and he went
when his wife looked like a beer ad.
Yeah,
you put that on Instagram. Yeah, you're right. Probably real thrilled that's out there on the gram.
Yeah. That was the other thing. I came home. What night was it? He has a place up in Grantsburg, I believe, and he does a lot of hunting up there. And I came home. He went up there midweek last week, and I came home on like a Wednesday from work, and he's sitting in his driveway with his white folding table out, and he's just gutting a deer.
He's gutting it right. Oh,
just right in his front. He's got the head of the deer sitting on the front of the table with him, sending it to the taxidermy.
Next time you got to send us those pictures. We'll put them out.
Yeah. It's great. It's awesome to have him as a neighbor. He's been great.
Oh, geez.
I don't know. Hoppy was trying to get me in trouble because I quote tweeted Ramsey on Twitter about his North Dakota reaction. Where he tweeted, man, sometimes it feels like you got swept when you lose that Saturday game or something like that. And I was like, yep, that's exactly how they feel like. And then Hoppy had to text that to Rammer, and then now Jack's all upset about it. So,
oh boy.
And now he's putting his wife out on Instagram as a beer ad girl. So I don't know what he's complaining about. It's like awesome. Pot kettle black right there.
Yeah.
Andrew,
exactly.
Oh, that was a great name. Rhett Rakshani. What a great name that is. Was he a roller hockey guy? I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't. There's a handful of them.
Yeah.
I know that. It's pretty crazy to see that. I couldn't imagine growing up just playing roller and then I don't know when you get on the ice for the first time at 12, 13 years old, these stories of these guys and they just pick it up like that. It makes sense, but it's just a pretty crazy journey.
Yeah, because skating is so huge. And yes, a lot of it is similar, but obviously stopping and turning on a rollerblade is different.
Yeah, quite a bit different.
I mean, sometimes they say, "Oh, you can do a hockey stop on rollerblades." I'm like, I wouldn't.
But I always think like thinking the game.
Yeah.
Roller hockey is probably closer to like soccer and bandy in that you have to like skate into space so much more intentionally than maybe in hockey where you're like at a standstill and you're skating into space sometimes maybe. Like there's just a little bit more like feeling the game, feeling the pace, feeling the space, and like putting yourself in those opportunities. Because I bet to be good at bandy and roller hockey, like you have to catch the puck or the ball with pace. Like you just can't, with speed. Like that's always the biggest problem I think with players is like figuring out that part of the game.
Yeah.
Because youth hockey, the best player, the best skater can just dominate the game because they just take it from end to end.
Yep, exactly.
The real IQ of hockey comes from reading space and manipulating space. And that's what the best players do. So I think, some of that with soccer, bandy, roller hockey might help.
Yeah.
That's why I'm a big believer in multi-sports because you have to, see things differently and figure it out.
Yeah. Teaches you a lot.
What do you think about Oliver Moore getting his first NHL goal, Vigs? Obviously, Wood has come up and played well. Some of the surprises me because, Moore probably should be here this year.
Yeah, it's tough. Like Chicago is not a playoff team.
No,
like they're just not.
Yes, that's true. They can throw guys out there and get experience.
You got a hot start right now, Vigs.
I mean, sure, but it's a long season. But I hope he sticks. He's a player who could like fit into any role, but I've always felt like if he was gonna like become a star player, he maybe needed more time at each stop along the way. He's always been rushing to that next stop. And, Casey Milstad's an example where he's fine now. Like he's a good NHL player. He's a scorer in the NHL. He can be a top 6 guy, but it took him a couple of years to figure it out, and I think it's rarer for a player to fight through it at pro hockey than a player who can be patient with it, maybe playing that extra year junior, playing that extra year of college, and then being ready for pro hockey. I think more often than not, you see it not work.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't have the patience for a player to develop for that long, at least.
Yeah. Unless you're a first round pick like Oliver Moore is, then you get a longer leash of your development because the team doesn't want to look bad. But I remember talking with Nate Condon, and he said he got like a week in the AHL, wasn't a good week. He got like 2 weeks in the ECHL, wasn't a good 2 weeks. And then that was kind of it.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't getting a lot of phone calls about the opportunity to play more American pro hockey. And he's just like, you feel like you deserve a better chance, but those teams have no patience for letting you learn. And I remember talking to another player. He's like, they're not helping you get better necessarily. Like if you get there and you can't do it and you're not figuring it out by yourself, they just replace you.
Yeah.
It's pretty cutthroat.
It's a lot of sink or swim. There's so many good players. Like I always like, you look at AHL teams and you look at the top 6 forwards on every AHL team, most of them you could plug into an NHL game and they would be able to fit in, right, and survive. But then you have to get plugged in and you have to make an impact, which is the difference, right? And so it's such a small fine line between the NHL and the AHL guys that you have to figure out a way to find a role or do something unique in your game. Otherwise, you get called up and you fit in, sure, but what did you do? You did nothing, and you get called up for 2 weeks, and then all of a sudden, that's maybe the only chance you get.
Would certainly taking advantage of it, Viggs, because
Well, I think because he's got that high IQ, and we saw that at Minnesota, and it's probably a good fit, Nashville, for him, like with his ability.
I did love you poking fun at the World Junior snub last year. I mean, it was good for US that he didn't go, but he wasn't fast enough. He wouldn't be able to keep up at 5-on-5, and you're pretty much still saying, what the F were they thinking?
Well, they lost in the quarterfinals.
They did.
Like, that Canada team wasn't good enough to win. So,
but they were.
Well, what that Canada team was they were big, they were fast, they were strong, and they were highly drafted. And they just couldn't make plays. Like in the games they lost, they had kind of one of those Penn State series where, they had a lot of shots. Their Corsi ratings were great, but they didn't have a lot of good scoring opportunities, or they weren't patient, or they didn't read the game right, or they didn't manage their shifts. And it's like, that's so critical at that level. Everybody's good. Everybody's a good skater. Everybody's skilled. But can you manipulate the game enough to make an impact? And that's what Sam's talking about with these fringe AHL, NHL players. It's like they can all do it. Like, they're all good enough skaters. They're all good enough shooters, puck handlers, passers. But can you see the game and your place in it enough to make an impact and be a positive winning hockey player? That's always the key.
Yeah, I would agree. How are your guys' opinion on this upcoming World Junior team? What are your guys' thoughts there? If you guys have looked into it much, I don't know.
We were at the World Junior Showcase this summer. They won one game against Finland. That was actually Finland's only loss. It was like one of the first games, Viggs, I believe. Didn't win the rest of the time. Played Canada competitive they played Canada competitive for a few minutes of the third when they got close or something like that, didn't they? And then
they had a chance to figure it out, and then Canada got a couple big ones and pulled them. Yeah. That's summer hockey. It's so hard to judge a player in summer.
Yeah.
They're in the middle of so much stuff. Like, their battle level, their compete level's not there. They're trying stuff. I thought Mason Poe looked good in the summer showcase, and I was like, well, this guy could be a player for the Gophers. Maybe he plays himself on the World Junior team. I'm worried about the U.S. The biggest thing is their defensemen. I just don't know if they have enough dynamic defensemen to make impacts. The World Juniors, you constantly need to figure out how to create 4-on-2, 4-on-3 opportunities to be successful in that tournament, because there's so many opportunities to do that, because there's so many mistakes, and the talent level is so high that you need players who can do that. I just don't know if the U.S. has that depth at defense, which has been a strength for them historically when they've done well at the World Junior. So it makes me nervous. And Sweden's really good this year, and they have a lot of players who are going to be there for sure. Canada, you never know. They have all the talent and all the first round picks in the world. But I think there's just so much pressure on them at this tournament.
It's so much pressure, and it seems like they just haven't been able to build the right kind of team. It's not like they don't have the talent, but it's bringing that talent all together.
Yeah. But I definitely don't think the U.S. is a favorite this year. And I think Bob's going to have his hands full. But again, Bob's the kind of coach where if there's talent, he lets that talent play.
Yeah.
He's not going to come in there and just say, well, we're playing this way. He's not a Herb Brooks.
Yeah.
Good or bad, Herb can take a group of college kids and beat the Russians, but Bob could probably take the Russians and beat anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in 1980, they also had a full year of games and setup and get a little shorter on the World Junior.
But I just think it's a different coaching philosophy. Like Bob,
Yeah.
I'm always interested in watching Bob run practice. He lets players play, and it's usually pretty subtle, like how he addresses things he wants players to change, and it's very player friendly. And I remember hearing some feedback after the World Junior Summer Showcase. There were a couple families of highly ranked players who were just like, this is like summer hockey. Like, what's going on? Like, why aren't they being harder and more difficult? I was like, Bob wants his players to play. Like, I think that's why players like playing for him, is because he wants them to create offense. He wants them to be comfortable. He wants them to use their creativity. You know, you got to do it in the right way, or you get ice time taken away. Or if you take bad penalties, you can't play for Bob. It's like there are those non-negotiables that he has. But at the same point, if you've got a talented team, he's a fun guy to play for, I bet.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think if like you said it best, if you're playing the right way, he's going to reward you. And I think that, like, he knows, he tells all his players a lot, like, you're here for a reason. You guys made it this far. Like, he doesn't want to change the type of player you are coming in, and he wants to let you kind of grow up and be in your own skin. And I think that for players, like, builds a lot of confidence because they just start to believe in themselves and the type of player they are. So I think that is a positive of his coaching style for sure.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm kind of like Matthew there. I am nervous.
The last 2 years they've been just so good. It's like this is a year that's kind of
less talent and
unknown.
Yeah, I just hope they come into it healthy with their top players, and that they have a good run at it. But it's tough. It's definitely not a stacked roster like some of the years where they've finished.
Good comment from Andrew there.
Yeah, I know. That was a good one.
No Rhett Pitlicks, huh?
Well, there was the dream scenario last year, Viggs. If Mankato and Minnesota would have won and played each other in the regional final in Fargo. I mean, come on, write the story. Overtime, Pitlick wins it. Throws a stick up over Bob's bench.
It would have been a story if anyone would have ended it in overtime and thrown the stick in the stands. It would have just been like, it would have been
just throw it right over the Minnesota bench, right over Bob's head.
I mean, could you imagine Jimmy Snuggerud pulling off the OT winner and then going right over the Mankato bench and chucking it into the stands, right over Rhett's head or something like that?
Oh,
I mean, that's something that Z William would probably have done in that situation. We watched him in the NCAAs, John with all the BC guys.
Oh, that was good. And we saw one of my favorite linesmen also trying to break it up. Sam Shikowski, he was right there in between the BC player and himself. Oh, yeah, just like that. And he was right there.
Is that Sam? Is he the taller guy? He's been around for a long time.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, he's awesome. I love him.
I'm hearing he's going to be back either this weekend or next weekend. He was injured. He broke his ankle at a Wilds camp kind of scrimmage or something like that. He broke his ankle and then he finished the game apparently.
Wow.
And
that aligns.
He is a favorite. We were talking with Shearhorn about that. He's like, oh yeah, he's great. And we actually brought up our list and he's like, God, there's this one referee I can't stand. Oh, it's that guy right there. It's fun. So hopefully Sam is back. Yeah, he's 6'6", 6'7". He always towers over a lot of players.
Yeah.
But I have pictures going back at 12 years since the beginning of the Big Ten, at least, of him.
I remember having him a couple games in Waterloo in the USHL. That would be 2014.
Is he taller than you, Sam? You're pretty tall drink of water, yeah.
Yeah, he's taller than me.
I have to ask him.
He's a big body.
Yeah.
A group of us alumni were joking during COVID. I think it was or right after COVID. The AHL was like making an exception for anyone who played pro hockey could get expedited to be a pro ref. And so a group of us were like, do we just create like a foursome and try to like climb up the ranks as a reffing crew? It'd be pretty fun, I think.
It could be like a Ron Burgundy Anchorman kind of crew of guys, you know?
Yeah. A couple linesmen, a couple refs.
Yeah.
Well, we've seen them a lot, you know, like post game at certain establishments. So you get to talk and meet these guys a little bit. When I shoot between the benches, I'm always, you know, going back and forth with the linesmen. You get to know these guys, and even some of the referees you get to know, and you learn that these guys are such hockey guys. They played hockey. They love it just as much as we do. Maybe they didn't have a successful career in hockey, but to be able to do what they do, they must have had some success. So
I feel like I need to make plans Saturday to attend that gathering so I can ask about the Wisconsin-Michigan fallout. I'm sure that's like a league memo of something.
Gotta be.
Especially if we hear from our sources inside Big Ten country that a suspension is still being talked about on Tuesday night. You know, I talked to some people this week about it now outside of, you know, people we usually talk to. And I'm just like, what's going on here? And they're just like, yeah, that's a bad look for our league, you know, to have stuff like that going on. Like that's stuff that's not college hockey. It's not Big Ten. It's, you know, ECHL stuff, AHL stuff. You know, that's not stuff that college hockey should be about. Our players shouldn't have to go through it. Our refs shouldn't tolerate it. And our coaches shouldn't let their players get away with it. So,
you know,
I just don't think there's strong enough leadership in the Big Ten to actually take this seriously. If this happened in Big Ten football or Big Ten basketball, it would be, it'd be immediate. It'd be Monday morning or Sunday night. We're on top of this. Like, we're not letting this happen.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. Like, if they don't suspend the guy by what, tomorrow at noon?
I think
I don't think they can suspend anyone then.
it's too late.
Yeah, I got to look back when Leon got suspended because I think that's the one that was late.
Because all these teams will travel Thursday.
So yeah, this is that video. I mean, yeah. So here's the first one. You know, he's number 6 is about to check him, which the first check is fine, I think. Maybe a little check, but not too bad. But then he just comes back and goes right on top of him. Boom.
I mean, you can tell if you rewind that.
Play should have stopped.
He's going into that first hit. His legs are so far apart that, like, I think if that Wisconsin player tries to cut to the middle, he's kneeing him.
Oh, you know, you might have something there. Yeah.
And then he stays on.
Right at this point, he cuts the middle. Yeah.
Like, he's going to hit him.
He did get him up a little bit high, it looks like. Close to the head. He was kind of falling down at the same time, but then it was that the puck goes away, but then it comes up along the board. The puck is up right here, or I guess I can't point, but it's right by the player standing up for Wisconsin. And then he's like, well, since the puck is here, I guess I could just, you know, cross-check him again. Boom. Well, the puck is here. I can do that. Viggs, the play should have stopped right there.
Yeah.
It should have been called. Well, you know, it should have been penalty right there. Should have been called.
Cross-check right there should have been called.
And then if not, yeah, fast forward 30 seconds here and it should have been stopped again.
Yeah.
This, when it goes back in, Michigan's on it here.
Yeah, it's the high hit by the goal.
Like, Hughes is going for a KO there too.
Yeah, I was just going to say even that right there.
Yeah, he was going for one. And now this one right here, Horkoff, I think, goes in the end wall. And Hughes finally gets somebody.
Boom. Oh, yeah.
Because he missed him. He missed him at the far blue line. And I remember last year, I think the Michigan series against Minnesota, we were seeing the same stuff where someone missed somebody and they still kept chasing him all the way down the ice here. You know, he's not going for anything other than a hit.
I can't believe there was no whistle there.
So two. That's twice. 2 no stoppages here. Little cost check in there, but not egregious. This first hit,
It's this park hit right here that just
so that first hit I think is fine. That's a good
That's
hit.
fine. That's fine. That's a hockey play. He's trying to look at me. He's hip on hip. He's trying to separate him from the puck. The puck is on the half wall. He's going to win that. And now Park just comes in here.
Yeah, he was way up top, and he came all the way in. And
he's hands up.
Boom. What? That's the third stoppage. Third time right there. And then somebody's getting hit here, and then it all just
That's all Donnybrook.
Yeah, I think Tom's had a bunch of video. We were showing that during when we were at the post game last Saturday, and we're like, what is happening here?
Yeah.
I think they corrected some of the penalty minutes. They had gone back and looked at it, but
and sorry guys, I grabbed this because this was the part where I'm just like, what is going on here? Like, you need to like take control of the game. At the end of the game, that's the end of the game. Like, there is kerfuffle stuff, but that's the end of the game. You kind of expect that. Here, I just saw moment after moment after moment where the refs are losing control of the game and they're allowing this to happen. If someone would have gotten a concussion here, I'm sorry. I blame the officiating for letting that continue.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I also blame some of the coaches for how they control their players. Like, if I had a player that was doing stuff like this, you're done for the rest of the game. Like, I know the ref didn't even call it, but that's not a good look for our program. That's not who we are.
Yeah, but they don't care. They clearly don't care.
They clearly don't, but they should.
They should, but their shit don't stink at Michigan. They don't care. I'm sorry, they just don't. So
Tim, did you ever see blatant disrespect of like courtesy in the game from other programs consistently? You don't have to name the program. I don't want to get you in that.
If you want to, you can.
Now that you're with Bartlett, you probably don't want to anger all hockey communities with one comment. But
yeah,
like, did you pick up on stuff where you're just like, even like in junior or high school, where you're just like, this program is just like, you're going to listen stuff?
There's programs who do it the right way, and then there's other programs, and those other programs, I think they get found out pretty quickly on the inside, at least, of just like it. I mean, there's no place, like, some of the stuff just doesn't even make sense to me with like how I'm not necessarily talking college here, but like juniors and stuff, some of these organizations, the way they're coached and ran, it's like not hockey at the end of the day. And it's like, you can't play like that for a full 60 games and then like have no discipline or no accountability. And so, yes, without saying too much, yes, for sure.
Yeah, I definitely think like in junior, the opening of the CHL as a route to college makes it easier for players to avoid situations where they feel like they're forced to play for a program that's like that.
Yeah.
And I think that's the best thing that could come out of it, is that, you know, just because your rights are drafted by someone in the USHL, you don't have to play for them. You do have some other options. I think that's one of the silver linings to that.
Yeah.
For players, because it's going to force everyone to be better.
Absolutely.
I don't know how Bartlett handles all that stuff. You know, when you got Cale McCarr and Brock Faber and Matt Boldy on your roster, you know, you got some
decent list of guys.
You know,
Cooley.
Yeah.
So
here is the list.
Feels great.
So here's the list you've been maintaining since the beginning of the Big Ten League. And was somebody asking about the Minnesota-Michigan thing last year? So if we click this and we'll share this tab. Oh, that's the Logan Cooley hit that earned him a suspension. Okay. So it was a couple. Yeah, I think he deserved it in this one. Boom. Yeah. Completely deserved it. Let me see what was the other one. It was
the Werner play against Sagarud that Marissa Voss got, I think is maybe what they're looking for. Or they're looking for the end of the Michigan.
I think your link is wrong.
Okay, could be.
Oh, wait, no, wait, this one right here. This is the Snuggerud one.
You're not showing it.
Yeah, give me a second. Give me a second.
Well, I gotta hear about the Duke Cannon products.
Is the flow looking okay? Is it?
It's looking good post practice. Jeez.
Yeah. Angel was giving me some props the other day, so I appreciate that, Nick. He's probably asleep now, though.
The stream's still up, but he's sleeping.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was unbelievable.
Yeah, it's not the greatest video. Boom, boom, right in the back of right in the head.
5 feet away from the boards. Already got rid of the puck. Kind of from behind. Yeah, that was terrible.
And there's an official at the top of the screen who should see that as he's going in the corner.
Yeah.
I think he's got orange stripes on. You should be watching that.
So yeah, you've got that page under our Big Ten menu that you maintain, and I mean you try to find the clips and links to it
as I can,
as you can. Obviously, a lot of them aren't always there, but
if we get some suspensions out of this Michigan-Wisconsin game, I already have some of the clips.
Yeah,
I've kept some receipts on this game.
He's already ready.
It just baffles me. You know, we've talked a lot in the last 2 years about growing the game of college hockey, and I just think this is a black mark on the game. You have two top 10 teams playing each other, and you have shenanigans like this. I know that there's some like Canadian tough guy who's like, well, that's part of the game. Like,
no, it's not.
It's not really anymore. It's like,
this is not 1985.
Like, these are highly drafted players that should be developing skill and playmaking and, you know, understanding the meaning of the game, like why we're here. So
yeah,
like what toughness are you showing? You lost 6-1. Like, where was the toughness when it was a 2-1 game? Or
that's where I would get so upset as a coach. Like,
yeah,
that's all the game. Those are the types of games it happens in when your team's already out of it, and then they start running around like idiots. And it's like, at what point did you guys think this was a good idea, and why this was never our identity? That'd be tough.
This is where I lose respect for coaches that allow their players to do that. I'm sorry. This is Honorado. And if I see him this year, he gives me a funny look like he did last year, I don't care.
And it's like, guess what? You don't get to play against Penn State next weekend because you did that stuff. Michigan plays Penn State this weekend.
Yeah.
That's a significant penalty for any player. It's like, how many scouts are going to be in the stands for that game?
Yeah.
You don't deserve to be on the ice because of what you did Saturday against Wisconsin. That should be the message sent in a league that's trying to be what it could be.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
I'm sure you've got some people from Michigan that are just like, well, these players have to play because there's going to be so many scouts there. It's like, well, they lost the opportunity to, you know.
Don't be an idiot.
Don't be an idiot. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. That's that Gen X? Is that Gen Z? Is that
Taylor Swift or who is that?
I think so. I don't know. My daughter's into Taylor Swift, so I should know, but
that's funny.
Old Taylor Swift.
Oh, good stuff.
So Bartlett, LJ Mooney, hot prospect. Is he's got to be good at media? Is he going to get like all the swag? Is he going to be the CCM athlete? Is he going to be doing Chipotle ads or what?
He should be.
LJ's like pretty comfortable in front of the media. Like,
yes,
he toned it back a little bit, I think, after World Junior, after his Clark's media training.
Yeah, well, you also can remember, Viggs, they were one-on-one with you when we did the World Juniors, and
true.
And Team USA just let them kind of do. I mean, we got to interview every player that we wanted after each game, and they came out and gave us their true opinions. I mean, you could tell from game to game, you know, that first game when they won that game, they were super happy. They were great. Yeah. Then they weren't so much. And yeah, maybe it is that Scott Slark's media training. Who knows? But you know, the first thing he said when he came in, he's like, "Hey, how you doing?" Right to you, Viggs, because he remembered.
Yeah, Mooney's he's gonna be comfortable.
He's a marketable guy for sure.
Yeah.
He's just got a great smile, and like you said, he's pretty free flowing. It's you like to see that. I mean, we've seen other guys come through.
He's got a good social media too, followers wise and engagement.
yeah.
So that should help with some NLI dollars maybe.
Well, they got to earn it now too, right?
That's the thing.
Like, are you involved in any of the NIL Go type activity?
Yeah.
Does Nick Angel constantly text you about NIL Go? And like,
Oh, yeah.
I feel like Nick's pretty fired up about it if he's still watching, but it's a thing right now in college athletics. You know, the revenue share is pretty much a whatever, but I don't know if college hockey is ever going to be a big revenue share piece. So it's going to have to be Golden Helmet Collective or Dickeytown Athletes. I think Dickeytown Athletes has done a fair job of delivering what donations are coming in.
Yep.
I definitely think there's room to grow in promoting that part of the program.
Yeah. Do you know fair? Do you know what their fees are
for Dickeytown Athletes?
Yeah,
15%, I believe.
I think that's what I heard, and I never knew if it was right. But
I think their perspective, like they say it on their site, they're like maximum 15%. Sure. But actually, the first year they were in operation, they took in less than 10.
Okay.
Because their goal is to just cover their costs of their staff, of like everyone thinks it's very easy to just have a volunteer-based system.
Yeah.
But like there are expenses. Like you're going to have to hire some interns to like go out and do the dirty work. You are going to have some software to manage everything. You are going to have some servers to host a website. Like GPL doesn't run for free. Like there's actual cost to like putting up the infrastructure to make it happen. So unless you have a donor that's like, I will cover that, and it's not going to come out of anything else, it's got to come from somewhere. So I've talked with Derek Burns quite a bit. He's been pretty upfront about some of the things that they do. And he's just like, hockey hasn't really been a big source of interest or promotion. So like there aren't just these angel people out there just giving lots of money to Dickeytown Athletes specifically for hockey, because you can. Right. If you want to, you could just give Dickeytown Athletes $1 million.
Yep.
And designate to hockey, and it has to go to hockey.
Yeah.
And I think there's just like this fallacy out there that thinks that if you give $1 million, 150,000 of it's going to go to Dickeytown Athletes staff. That's not what's going to happen. They're just covering their costs. They're not taking a cut. It's not like a grifter scheme,
Sure. Yeah.
And I think some people are uncomfortable about that because you can't be transparent completely with your finances because no one's transparent.
Yeah.
Well, the 1851 or whatever that the Fighting Hawks runs, like they're not publishing their books. The Hawkeye Collective is not publishing their books.
Right.
The M Club for Michigan is not publishing their books. So there's no benefit to Dickeytown Athletes to do that.
Right.
But I think you just have to trust that they're acting in the best interest. And I think the partnership with PJ and Mark and Jeremiah has to speak that like they're doing it above board. Like I've always told everybody, Mark Coyle is a Boy Scout. He will never do anything malicious. Like he holds his morals above everything.
Yeah.
And that's just the way Minnesota's going to be run with him in charge.
With the rev share stuff, is it always going to be a blanket decision, or is it going to be discretionary per school?
It's definitely discretionary per school, but there's a cap.
Okay.
I think it's like 20.5 this year. And I think it's like 22.7 next year. And that's the money that Minnesota can give to all athletes.
And so I've always paid attention to the hockey balance sheet. but I haven't looked at other sports. But like hockey has to be one of the top 3 from a profitability standpoint, right?
Yes, for sure. Hockey does very well. Football leads the race. Men's basketball has not done very well the last couple of years of Ben Johnson. Like they just have not done well. Hockey's right there, which is rare for most D1 institutions to have hockey be the number 2 revenue producer.
That's why it's
the way it's been
between school. Like if it's up to Minnesota, you'd have to think they're going to start to get a bigger chunk every year. Hopefully, I don't know.
You would think so. I don't think Bob is pushing for it either.
I've also heard that.
Like, I don't think Bob is thinking he needs to push for money to be successful. Whereas Nico Medved, he only took the job. He only took the job because Mark Coyle said, "I will make you competitive."
Yeah.
And I've heard from people that Ben Johnson wasn't very proactive in getting donations to Dinkytown athletes. He didn't set aside the time to connect with donors. He didn't set aside time for the players to earn the money from Dinkytown athletes. Those are the trade-offs you have to make. Like if you're going to get revenue from Dinkytown athletes, you have to set aside time for the athletes to do the work to get the funds. That may just look like them showing up at a barbecue and interacting with donors from Dinkytown athletes to get the money. Might show up at a Skate with the Gophers. That's a Dinkytown athletes event, and you get money for that. Show up at a watch party, you get money for that. It's like you have to do something to get the money now. It's not a blank check, like some people thought. Very complicated.
A lot of theories out there.
I feel like I'm talking a lot tonight. Sorry, guys.
No, not at all.
I got Tomps is sending me videos. He's like the kerfuffle at the end of the game and whatnot videos. And so Ryan Thompson, nice to see you, man. Thanks for watching. We appreciate it.
He donated a beer of the week that's going to be up later in the year. Just wasn't right for tonight, Tomps. This was a before the dawn night. So
I didn't know you were taking donations on beers of the night.
I accept many donations, Sam. If you got one for me, you don't have a beverage of the week tonight. You must have something going on tomorrow. So
I got an 8 a.m. or day tomorrow.
Yeah, Jack usually has something good. Eric kind of absconds. He's a good, clean living guy. I got
the old trusty next to me.
Mick Golden.
It's reliable.
Nice. The post bandy. It's like refreshing.
Oh, it's great.
How's your bandy career going, Sam?
It's good. It's been so I played in a little bit of a men's league after, and I just men's league is fun, but bandy is a whole new game. So it's like more exciting. And it's more of a challenge for sure. I played on a team, the Duluth Dynamo. It's Rick Haney, who played at Harvard back in the day. He actually commutes from Duluth all the way down to Roseville once a week for these games. So he's dialed in, but he's kind of the leader of our team. And I first started playing. Cullen Munsing actually got me into it. And
he's a player in the bandy. I've seen the highlights.
He's actually going to Finland in January with the Team USA stuff. So that's pretty cool. But he got me into it, asked me to sub a few times. I loved it. We were terrible. Then the following year I joined the team full time, also terrible. And then last year we got two new guys who were pretty good. And we just our team was all new to bandy 3 years ago. And so we started to figure it out. And we won it last year. It was awesome. And so now I'm fully hooked on bandy, but I haven't surrendered to the bandy blades yet. I still got the hockey blades in.
What's the difference?
They're longer. It's a lot. The turning has got to be challenging, right?
That's why I don't think I could do it, but I just don't think I'd want to do it because it's such an adjustment. Because you have to Yeah.
You have to change your angle of attack on stuff, I bet.
Yes. You can't go on a one-on-one in bandy with bandy blades on and try to deke a guy. You got to pick a direction. It's a lot more. It's like a 747. That's how Mike Gensel used to tell me that I turned.
He is such a nice guy with feedback. I remember like interviewing Ryan Lindgren once in the hallway of like the team area, and Lindgren didn't have a shirt on. And Genzo walks back and's like, Lindy, you are not fit enough to do an interview without a shirt on. It's like,
I love Genner though. He's awesome.
Yeah. He's like, you need to put on a shirt on right now. Like, you're embarrassing yourself. I was like, man, Genner is a brutal man. It's like Lindy just came back from like the World Junior with like the plague.
Yeah.
It's like he played through that. Like, give him a break.
That's funny.
Yeah, I'm impressed with the bandy. My connection to the Middlebrooks, like they're really into it, and I enjoy seeing the posts on the oval because I love the oval. I think it's a great concept. I wish Minnesota had more of those, and so cool to see.
When you get some snow and it's snowing and those big pine trees have snow all over them and they put up the lights, it's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. One of my great memories when I was in high school, I got to go with a team to New Zealand my junior year, and we played in the mountains in
sweet.
New Zealand. So if you imagine like Lord of the Rings, like it's all shot like in New Zealand, like some of those mountain scenes with like the crystal blue water. Well, we were like playing above that on an outdoor hockey rink.
Oh, that's awesome.
With lights and it was snowing. I don't, because it was 1995.
Yeah. Didn't have a film camera back then.
I just had my brain. It was just like, God, this was so amazing. And we played like a senior men's team. We're a bunch of high schoolers from like Minnesota and like New York and Texas and Michigan. And it was fun.
That's pretty sweet.
But we get in the locker room and we played this men's team and they've got these cases of beer. And we're looking at our coach. We're like, can we have these? And our coach is like, you're in New Zealand. Drinking age here is like nothing. So go ahead. So we all cracked open a beer and had one with all these old guys that we beat.
That's awesome.
We're just these young Minnesota kids, and it was pretty fun.
You guys got to ask Ramsey about his adventure out to Vail last year.
We had him on.
Oh, did you guys already talk about it with him?
Well, a couple shows ago.
Yeah.
Because they had the lunch bucket hockey jerseys.
Yep,
that's right.
They were one of our sponsors last year, so we talked about it as many chances as we could get. So
it was a great jersey too.
Good luck, good experience.
I think they're trying to go to like Jackson Hole this year or something, which would be cool.
I think he was saying just last week or a couple weeks ago, or no, he was. I think might have been saying this is the bar pass Saturday night. He's like, when they went out there, it's a little higher altitude at Vail than it is in Denver.
Yeah, just
and he was like, "Oh my gosh!" It was quite the shock.
Well, so I played for the Vail Yeti 2 years ago, because Colin Munson's kind of my men's league hookup guy. He's got me into a lot, which is great.
Always looking for guys.
Yeah, his old junior coach coaches the Vail Yeti.
Okay,
and he had me out there. It was New Year's Eve in Vail, and it was awesome. Like the crowd that they get there is like, it's impressive. They advertise it as the cheapest beer in town, and it actually is, because a beer in Vail is like $15.
Yeah,
and a beer at the rink is like $9 or something. They say they keep it under 10. So they packed it. They sold it out, and we had the guy named Diamond Hands. Do you guys know who I'm talking about? He's
Diamond Hands
in the East Coast, and he has like a big social media presence because he just fights guys, and he's a super tough guy. And he was playing in the Federal that year, and he got suspended for 14 games in the Federal. I can't imagine what he did. Like, it's like he almost like murdered a guy or something. But
well, it sounds like Slapshot to me.
Anyways, he came and played for the Vail that weekend for the Yeti, and so he was our teammate, luckily. But he like jumped 3-4 guys out there. We were playing Breckenridge. We played this team from New York when we were out there. But it was like, it was, and the crowd loved it, of course, because they were all they had some beer in them, and is
there like an understanding, like when you sign up for this, that the Diamond Hands will not pummel you if you're like you, or is it just like
I just got lucky, I guess, that I was on the and I wore a cage out there because I was like, I'm not showing up to work on Monday with like a missing teeth or a broken nose or something. And I got to tell my work that I played in a men's league game in Vail.
That's not a fun story to tell.
Yeah. So I wore a cage, but like, I think there's a rule in that league. Like if a guy's wearing a cage, obviously you can't fight him no matter like what happens. But so he only fought guys that weren't wearing cages, but he jumped them. I don't know if there was consent really, but it was exciting to say the least.
It's like sending the Hansons out there. Jeez.
Yeah.
I'm going to play some men's league games this year again for the first time in like a decade. And I'm just like, it's going to be fun, but I'm also just like, oh, are we pushing in corners? Is that what we're doing? Like I'm not a small human. So it's just like,
Viggs, you were part of the meat line when we were playing.
Yeah, we had like 3 of us that were all like 6'3", 250 pounds.
No, I was just the heavy one. I would be on the same line, and I'm just the shorter, fat guy out there. But you and Jeff were.
Well, we had Jeff, and then I can't remember his name, but we had another big guy who was. His kids now are like the same age as my kids, and I can't remember his name. Bob?
Yeah, Bob.
Yeah.
He was pretty fast though. He was pretty slick out
there. But
he
was also big.
He was also
big. He was also like 6'2" and like 240 pounds, and like just lining up at a face off like 6'3", 240 pounds all the way across. Like we're
that's
ready
intimidating.
We were ready for the tush push. It's like,
see, Sam, we used to play against Jess, who is the assistant coach for the Gopher women's team right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she played in the league.
She played in the league, and she was vicious.
Where did you guys play at? And was it still 10:30 starts back then?
Oh, yeah, it was at the Super Rink.
Rink. Yeah. We'd see Papa Brodzinski up there. He was still playing.
Yeah.
Yep.
He loves it.
He loves the men's league game.
Does he still play, I wonder?
I have to imagine he does.
Yeah.
I haven't played up there in a decade. So.
Yeah.
But honestly, hockey
give him my toes back in.
Playing, though. I mean, you see guys playing in their 70s and 80s.
Yeah, Wally Shaver still plays.
Yeah, Wally Shaver still plays. Yeah.
Does he really?
Yes,
yeah.
He does.
I can't believe I've never asked him about that.
You need to ask him about it.
Yeah, he's a goalie, right?
I don't think he is anymore, but
that's unbelievable.
He still plays every week.
He still plays. He said he skipped last Sunday because he was so tired from the weekend, but he usually plays.
That might be our fault. I think we were there till it was only 11:30. I think.
Did Ramsey stay the distance?
He did.
Nice.
Ramsey
he's got young legs.
We try to keep that on the down low because this is a public thing.
That's true. Yeah, good point.
And we do see the referees there. We don't need people going there and giving the referees
confronting
a hard time.
them. Although I kind of now want to go on Saturday and confront them about Michigan, Wisconsin, and be like,
well, we don't know who's going to be there either.
Yeah.
I mean, what refs are going to.
Some of them are more social than others.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, some of them we just don't know very well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The one, the Colin Cronforst is the one that Eric hated. And we'll talk to him all the time.
He's very upfront. He's very upfront. Yeah. Well, most of the guys, they just want to get it right. Like they want to be on the right side of it. Like no ref goes into it going, I want to screw this guy.
Yeah.
Like because if they get it wrong, they know they get it wrong. They don't get to work the Big Ten championship. They don't get to work the regionals. They'll never get a shot at Frozen Four. It's like the guys who ref want to ref the Frozen Four.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You know, like
they don't want a Big Ten team in there because they want to be able to ref it.
Right.
It is crazy looking at the different leagues and how each league is like ref differently. I've always thought that was interesting.
Well, it was really interesting this year. Bob was like, NCHC has this like super big emphasis on obstruction penalties that he did not hear about going into the series. And so after the first night, they were just like, oh yeah, the refs are all about this. He's like, well, nobody told me.
I was talking to Raboyne, and the CCHA is like super putting a big emphasis on stick penalties. and like any type of stick work, like waist and above is like no tolerance. And then anytime you get the hands, obviously. But he said they've had a ton of stick penalties this year, and it's been hard to adjust to.
Yeah.
It needs to be college hockey wide. Every league needs to be get together and say, hey, if we're going to do something, let's all do it once, because geez, you get to the NCAAs and you see something like what happened to Minnesota last year. And obviously that crew didn't end up reffing the rest of the tournament. They were kicked out. So
yeah, that was tough.
That's tough.
Frustrating.
There's also, you have to adjust during a game as a player. Like you have to.
Yeah.
It's just, as a player, I think it's probably hard to trust the ref is going to call it the same way the whole game as well.
Yeah, there's not a lot of trust between the players and the refs, and
right. I don't think in any sport, the trust between the player and the ref, or coaches and the ref, is there. But
yeah, who is I saw a clip. Maybe it was from Spit and Chicklets or something, that one of the GM, was it Billy G? Maybe, I don't know. One of the GMs was saying that they used, like back when they played, they used to know the names, first and last names of every single ref that like
I think I saw that,
or something. And they're like, the gist of it was basically nowadays none of these kids pay attention or respect the refs, and like that was a big part of the game back then as far as getting calls your way and whatnot. Not maybe your way, but just favorable or like fair at least.
Well, just look. You remember Sam Shikowski?
Yeah,
you know the guy. You know the linesman. You typically have a rapport with the linesman, but do you know a referee's name that you had?
I mean,
Eric knew it as a picture. That guy. I mean,
if I saw pictures, I would recognize guys, but names.
Yeah.
As a coach, like when I coached high school football or when I coached high school hockey, I was very clear on every game. I'd write down the refs on my notes because they always introduce themselves and they say, hey, I'm Brian. Oh, hey, I'm Jeff. I'd be like, okay, Brian, heavy, Jeff, skinny, or, whatever. And just so I know, like, I've got them in my notes. So later in the game, if something comes up, I can just go, oh, yeah. Hey, Brian, can we just chat? Brian, I've got an issue. Yeah. Or like if I was a college coach, I would probably say, here's our crew today.
Yeah.
Here are their pictures. Here are their names. Like,
absolutely.
Be respectful, be able to call them by name because they might know who you are. Yeah. I think college athletes are 100% very visible these days. Yeah. So like you have a reputation as a player, I'm sure.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So and then like being very intentional about it.
They're willing to work with you, like it's you might not get calls your way, but like if your stick is, he might let you put your stick down twice early on a face-off and before kicking you out or something. Like it's the little things that can make a difference.
So I've been working,
or something might not escalate into a misconduct or like a grudge or something. Like if they know you know their name and you know who they are, like it totally changes the relationship. Whereas, hey, Stripes, you F that up or whatever.
100%.
So I've been working with Gopher Game Notes to display his record keeping. So this is referee data since 2023, 24 of all the refs and how the Gophers have done with certain refs.
This is awesome.
And Starsky was one of the refs last weekend. They're 9-2-1. Oh, who was the other one?
Fernandez.
23 games.
Fernandez we've struggled with. Boy, who was it? Satarsky. Who was the referees last weekend? Schmidt. It was Satarsky and Brandon Schmidt last weekend. You look at most games, there's Cronforst, 23 games, Rikucki, 20 games, Marcotte, 15, Fernandez, look at that, 4-8, and he's, let me see, I can't, the top doesn't stay there, but.
Where is it? What one's Eric's guy?
Oh, that's Cronforst, this guy right here. So you look at it, Minnesota's had, in that time period, 71 power plays. Opponents have had 42. And then you look at the averages per game, Minnesota's had, 3.09 power plays per game as the opponents had 1.3. So
Eric should have liked him.
It's like you should like this guy. He's trying to help you. He's calling a fair game. Whereas Sean Fernandez, it's
yeah, Fernandez gets tough because it was Fernandez and Cronforst who did that big Big Ten game where Minnesota came out and scored first, and it was packed house, and we ended up losing. That was that first of the Michigan's losses in the Big Ten championship. Both those guys called that game. And obviously there's guys here where we just have a couple games, but
I mean that's the Big
Fernandez,
Ten too.
Yes.
It's like
this is outside. I think
they're pretty regional.
Yeah.
Like they're pretty regional, like the way they assign people, at least at the start of the year. So
yeah, so this picks up right from Gopher Game Notes. He's always great with he supplied that to everyone. Send him a cup of coffee if you could, because he used to keep tracks of goofy little stats, and I just love these little things because
he's fantastic. I love his Twitter page. The Twitter page is awesome.
Yes.
Well, and like during the game on Saturday when Jimmy Clark scored, I was like, how many pipes has Jimmy Clark hit this year? Because I feel like it's been like 5 or 6. And he's just like, well, officially it's 2, but I think you're right. I think he's hit more. And the stat crews are inconsistent with like registering pipes hit, as a stat.
Hitting the post does not count as a shot on net. Is that still the case?
It's a missed shot, but you can register it in the stat tracking software as a pipe.
Got it. Okay.
So it's still missed, but it's a pipe. So because he referenced like last year Snuggerud hit a ton of pipes and they only credit him with,
I wonder
20.
if Craig is thinking that Pakmar is going to be here this weekend if he was at Michigan, Wisconsin last weekend. Craig Floor would know. Craig Floor knows everything.
Well, they know already.
Oh yeah, they know already.
They know. I remember one year I sent a request to the university for a timing sheet for a game day operation.
That was last year, I think.
Because I was trying to figure out a timing sheet for an event with Mayor's Cup for my youth team. We had Mayor Fry, Mayor Carter that were going to be there and doing stuff. And it was like a big event. I was like, this is way too long of a time for all this stuff. We are just gonna be sitting around. I was like, can the U send me one? And they sent me it, and it's like, it had the refs, it had the expected attendance, it had
ticket sales,
walk up anticipation. It's like, oh man, can you send this to me every week? And they're like, I probably shouldn't have given that to you.
But it was a good template though. That's all you were really looking for.
Yeah, I was just looking for timing. It's like, when do you send out the officials? When do you send out the the anthem? When do you send out all this stuff? And the U has it all dialed in pretty good. And I remember looking at the World Junior one. I was like, if you do this for a World Junior game, you're gonna have people just skating around for way too long. So, good times.
No Barry this weekend, according to Craig. So,
you guys had Craig on the pod yet this year?
I don't think he'll come on as a guest, only in overtime.
Yeah, we're only, maybe we should, what should we do for our Thanksgiving show, Viggs?
Does he only strictly watch overtime too? He refuses to watch.
No, I think he was. Well, who knows?
He only chimes in during overtime.
We had his wife on too. We had him in his garage, and Jen was on the show too. That was last year, I think, year before.
Yeah, she was only on because she sleeps with the rink manager, though.
Oh boy! Yeah. So Craig Floor is probably in his garage right now at 11:22 at night.
Yeah,
right, Craig.
What's Shearhorn and Ramsey's tallies at for guest appearances?
Let me bring it up.
How long do I have to go?
It's quite a ways, I think. Actually,
yeah. Are they double digits?
No, not yet.
No, I think they're 5 and 6.
Okay.
So they're both tied at 6.
Wow.
And let me put in yours. This is only your second, so you just moved up the list.
I did. Nice.
Well, yeah, I just typed it in. So now
a couple one-hit wonders.
Yeah, we surprisingly have some guests who don't want to come back. I mean, I feel we're a pretty friendly crew, but I think sometimes.
Some people are just not in the business really anymore. Hey, look at we had Charlie Beatty on.
Yep, he's not in the business.
He's not in the business.
How many times have we had Adam Odon on?
Wow.
Who's that?
How many times have we had Brian Tripp on?
We had Brian Tripp on once,
Yeah. So
but we never asked him again.
I know.
What about Nick Angel? Is he up there on the list?
Nick Angel has been 3 times.
3.
We even had Jeff Dubé on back in the day.
I don't think I was a part of that.
Oh, you had to have been.
No.
Because it was when he came back from 1500, or he was back on the radio for a little while with 1500.
Yeah,
So,
before
Viggs,
my
what
time.
episode have you been on since? If this is 294,
Second season, so probably 20 in the 20s somewhere, right, Viggs?
Maybe. I feel like I was not consistent right away because I think I was
That's
still
possible.
in California.
Oh,
Maybe.
So my wife took a job rotation out in California, and so we lived out there for like 18 months. We weren't married yet. We were living in sin, and we got married out there. Got married out there in a wine cave, and came back to Minnesota once we got pregnant, or she got pregnant, and we were having a kid. So
nice.
had to come back to Minnesota. Can't raise hockey players out in California.
Yeah.
Back to the roots.
I'm looking at the list though, Viggs. We do need to get Tim Bruley on again. Maybe to explain the NPI in January.
Yes, when it matters.
So
That'd
Tim
be good.
Bruley is the guy who started and is still the main guy behind USCHO, USCHO.com.
Okay.
You could say he's the guy behind the guy, but he's actually the guy.
He is the guy. And he he figured out the pairwise back in the late 90s, how it all worked or something like that, right, Viggs?
Mm-hmm.
And he comes to Mariucci a couple times a year. He was there already.
Nice.
But he's he's not, everyone knows everyone, all these other people, but he's really a behind the scenes guy at USCHO.
Yeah.
Obviously the biggest site in all of college hockey, and they got the poll. I mean, they've been doing great stuff for years. So
I wonder how he got into that.
he's a nerd.
Like just yeah.
He is. I mean, he's
coding during games that he's at.
yeah, he will be.
Oh really?
Yeah, he'll be up in like the press box, like in the show seats, and he'll be coding the website like during play.
So he's just showing off.
Well,
yes.
Well, no, I think sometimes his wife comes down and has tickets, and he's like, "Oh, I'll come down too." And I pointed out something was broken on his site. He's like, "Oh, he's just working on it." Oh, I think I forgot to do this when Minnesota changed to the Big Ten. That's why their stats aren't showing up for old times. I'm like, he's just, he founded a site. He found a niche. It was the first really big college hockey website, Viggs.
Mm-hmm.
And it still is. So, but he's originally a Gopher fan. So yes, USCHO is run by originally a Gopher fan, but
you'd think he'd rig it a little bit.
No, he's pretty straightforward. He'll wear jerseys from other teams in the Frozen Four. I mean, I got a great photo of him in a Bulldog jersey years ago. So he's a big supporter of college hockey.
He's part of what makes college hockey great. Like I think the people who are really into college hockey see the big tent of it and are happy for everybody when they do well. I do think some of us in that big tent, when we see what happens between Michigan and Wisconsin, we just kind of shake our heads and be like, hey, police yourselves. Yeah. Or you see fans like interacting in a way that's not offsides and say, hey, come on, it's college hockey. We don't do this. I feel like there's people like that in the community. So Tim's one of those guys.
Nice.
You can be a fan of something and still police it.
Mm-hmm. I like it.
All right, guys.
Sam,
it's
11:30. I gotta ask one last question, Sam.
Yeah.
Sam, I don't know if you recognize the line "guy behind the guy." Do you know what that's from?
I do not.
Have you ever heard the movie Swingers? Jon Favreau and
I don't know if I've seen that one. I know about it.
My mind.
Swingers is a movie like a bunch of like people in California like trying to make it as actors. Okay. There's like a scene in it where they're playing like NHL 95.
Yeah.
And Vince Vaughn's like, I'm only good because Ronick's good. And he's like, I'm gonna make Gretzky's head bleed. So it's like that moment in it, which is kind of fun. And he's like, oh yeah, he's gonna make Gretzky's head bleed. But there's a scene where like Jon Favreau is like, oh, it's the guy behind the guy. And I heard you were like the guy behind the guy in the Twin Cities. I hear like, that's how you, maybe why you're a Bartlett hockey guy is because like, everybody in St. Paul. Like when you go to a concert, like, like the sneaky way in, the bartender, the manager. Is this any bit factual?
It's all about relationships, Feeks.
Oh, that's not a denial, Viggs.
Yep, I heard that if you're gonna go have a nice night on the town in the Twin Cities, Sam is your tour guide, and he knows like everybody to make it happen.
I won't take that credit for fully, but I'll take a little bit of it. I'd say I'm the every friend group has kind of the planner and the doer, and then you got ideas guys who don't act on them, and you got a bunch of different roles within a friend group. I think I take charge, and I'm a planner. I can set some things up, I'd say.
So when the Bartletts are in town, like what are the spots that the clients and you would hit up because of the connections and experience that is just like so memorable?
Oh geez, I don't know if I can expose them.
This is promotional work right now. This is where you get to gild the lily a little bit here. So
there's a sweet private cigar bar in Minneapolis if you've heard of that one.
Okay.
Good spot. There's I don't know. There's Billy Sushi's honestly a big spot.
I think Kaprasov has made that a destination spot for hockey players. So did you get to go to the bar with Billy and do all the special things?
I've done it a couple times with Billy.
I think that's John King's dream is to be that guy who could just like call up Billy and get that experience. And I don't think he's quite there yet, but he's working on it.
Yeah.
I think his dream, Wildland 7, the podcast, is with Kaprasov and Billy Sushi.
That would be an unreal combo.
Yeah.
Maybe Kinger could come on for Thanksgiving.
He's going to come on at some point here.
He needs to, yeah. He comes on at least once a year now.
Any other hotspots, Sam? Or is this a special OT session at some point, maybe?
special OT session at some point after I have a few more beers.
Yeah, like when I was in my younger days, like I could definitely go to like Brothers downtown, the library, Groveland Tap.
You ever go to Bunkers back in the
Blue Door Pub? I wasn't a Bunkers guy.
No.
But I played on the Brothers softball team, so like I could make a fun night there, or you pay $20 for a tab and you get a 10 and a 5 and 5 ones back, and those kind of nights. So we had those spots around town, but it's a little different era then.
Yeah. I'm not saying it to protect myself. I just don't want to expose other people, and it's kind of like the Saturday night game spot that you guys got going on.
That's fair. That's fair. But I just wanted to confirm the rumor that you are the mayor of the Twin Cities.
Sounds like he is.
I won't take it that far. No way. No way.
It's a good spot. It's a good place to be. It's a good place to be. And I'm glad that you're getting a TV spot here this week and doing some radio. So I appreciate you coming on.
I'm a little nervous for the TV gig, but
you're getting experience being on the podcast here.
Yeah.
I mean, if a guy from Alaska can do it, I mean,
exactly.
That's what I keep telling myself,
Come on.
Yeah.
If Eric can somehow survive out there, no, he's been great. I can do it. So it'll be fun.
It's funny though. I heard people say like, "Oh, wasn't that Climber doing the game?" Like, no, it's Shearhorn. And then I listen to them back. I'm like, well, they do kind of have the same
that's
voice.
the joke.
Isn't that his boss?
I was just going to say they work together. It's
they work together.
We all chirp him for being the mini Climber. He's a clone.
Oh,
I think some people couldn't tell that it was Shearhorn doing the game. They thought it was Climber still.
He has the same flow and delivery of his analysis. It's spot on. Even when I listened to my radio last year, I was like, is Climber on the radio?
Yeah.
But
oh boy, we're never gonna.
How do you guys listen to both do you listen to both Veeks?
So when I'm at the rink, I usually have the Varsity Stream radio in my earbuds, even though it's like 10 or 20 seconds behind. I'll listen to at least a period or two of it just to hear what's going on with radio, because usually radio gets info that
like, for example, one of the games I asked Slarks, is Gruba out for the game? Because he was missing on the bench. He's like, oh, it's TBD. We'll see. And then I heard radio go, oh yeah, he's done. And I'm just like, okay, you're giving radio a different story than I'm getting, So I tweeted.
And I just happened to be standing by radio when he came over and told him that. So.
Right. And so like that's going on too. And then I usually rewatch games a little bit on the BTN streaming, just like to see what the TV crew is like and how it's going and what they saw. I usually try to do that. It was easier when the podcast was on Wednesday instead of Tuesday, but yeah, so that's how I try to stay in touch too, because so many fans, that's how they take in the game. So I want to hear that. And then definitely post-game radio. Like I'm usually listening to that because I know when post-game radio is done, Bob's going to come in for the press.
Yeah.
So it's a good like prep. And then you can hear what he said.
Right.
And then the pre-game radio with Bob is always good to get because he tells stuff there that he doesn't tell us.
Right.
Today he told us today, he's like, oh yeah, Cal, Tanner, they're all 50-50 still. And it's like, I know that's not the case. I know it's not 50-50, but he won't share that until Friday radio. So
I can't remember. I'm curious to learn on if we do post game for TV with Bob. I don't think so. Do we?
Usually just get a player.
Yeah. That's what I thought, because he goes to radio, I know, but wasn't sure on the TV piece.
Yeah, radio gets him post game. So maybe you could ask for it. Maybe just be like, I'm not doing TV unless I get Bob post game.
Get Bob up
or at least get Miller or Gordo or Potter.
Gordo, we gotta get Gordo out in the radio scene.
Gordo's got it. One criticism of the staff is like, you got to get more people out there.
Yeah.
Got to get more voices. I think it would be helpful for that.
Did you hear both of them on the celebration video I put out, Viggs?
Yeah.
Killer. He was like, waited till it cleared, and then he went, and screamed through the kids going back to the locker room. I'm like, that was excellent. And Gordo was right behind him doing the same thing.
I can hear Killer the whole game.
Well, true.
I can, especially if it's empty, like it might be this weekend. Like you'll be able to hear what Killer's thinking.
How have the crowds been? I haven't been to a game yet.
I was a little disappointed in the Boston College crowds, just
Okay.
because that's such a big opponent and there was such big hope going into that weekend. Duluth also kind of disappointed in just because the in-state rival. I expected it for Notre Dame to be kind of down. This weekend I expect it to be down too. So
I think Penn State might be tough because it's still not a big name for a lot of the traditionalists.
Yeah. I mean, I was surprised. Like football was bad for Michigan State, and football's been amazing for the last 5 years.
Yeah,
like since COVID, football has been packed, and like the Gophers are 6-0 at home for football. Like I just don't get it. Like that Iowa game really was destructive to the fan base.
I've been getting a lot of social media ads for hockey though. Just on either Instagram, Facebook Reels, whatever it may be. I've been seeing a lot of little banners at the bottom of my screen for hockey. So they're putting money into it, at least on the social side.
I like it.
Jupe, I feel like you've been trying to end this show.
I'm tired.
So.
Yeah, we'll shut up and let you end it.
Sorry. Sam, thanks for coming on.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thanks
it.
for coming on. Stay online for here a couple of minutes. We're going to say goodnight to everyone else. We'll see you next week, folks. You got anything? I got nothing. I'm just tired.
I mean, I'm sorry I tried to stretch the OT because I really wanted to get this bit in about Bob and I talking about officiating. Because like I grabbed him after media today